Yeah.
We are Squawking Dead. And the day finally came. Our heads on pikes had arrived. And we are all shook. We're here joined by the therapy circle. I've got Rachel Bird on my left. I've got Ashley Weidman on my right. I've got Carol on the bottom left. And I've got Chris on the bottom right. We're here for us mostly because we're selfish pieces of shit. And we're also here for all of you. So, welcome to the show. No real personal news, but I did want to start off with a couple blocks of news to get us started, and then we'll jump into the episode. I will have Rachel Burt kick off the show, but wait. We're finally going to get snow in the next episode. This is something.
Finally.
This is something that we talked about at the top of season 8, I think, almost on the podcast. And I finally got my wish. But you know what? You know what's so funny about that wish is that when it finally came, like my heart wasn't in it. Like I saw the first few flakes on the hilltop coin.
Yeah.
Exactly the way I pictured it. By the way.
Yeah.
The way I laid it out in the podcast, and I could bring it up again as like. And then at the end of the episode, you see the first few flakes hit the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it happened exactly like that. But what do you guys think about the snow? Snow came into the comics, I think, relatively like in the beginning of the series, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think it came very early on.
Yeah. So
I act like I know what I'm talking about, but I don't.
yeah, it's definitely true.
Yeah.
Our first logo has the Rick and Glenn scene in Atlanta, I think it is. Mm-hmm. And it has the snowflakes and them like walking around the zombies. So I know that much, or at least I knew that much. So oh my God, Freakish Order is on the chat and Instagram. Steph, so glad to have you, and your husband, Ashley.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all right. But yeah, so you know what? The camera's not working on the Instagram stream, which always happens. Give me a second though. It'll take 1, 2, and click. There we are. Professional operation. So talk about. So yeah. What do you guys think? I mean, like I don't know. Were you guys invested as I was in the idea of snow?
Yeah, I was looking forward to it a lot.
It's just something different besides the humidity, you know? It'll be really cool to see how they'll do the walkers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What do you guys think has been holding them back? Do you think it's the idea of just staying with the consistency of the setting, or I don't know.
Holding them back from using the snow?
Yeah, as a prop.
Probably the location. I mean, they spent a lot of time in Georgia, and there's really not a whole lot of snow in that area. Now that they've traveled farther north, we see that kind of weather.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
They're still in Virginia, right?
Yeah, technically.
Okay. Do we know? Okay. Yeah.
Although for some reason in the next episode they are traveling north, which we'll definitely get to by the end of it. But doesn't that...
Where are they heading now?
Exactly.
Is this
find out?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Is this like they're shutting down the communities and they're all just traveling and leaving now because they found out that they have borders that they can't cross?
Well, we'll definitely get to that by the end of the episode because there's a reason why I want to tackle it at the end. There's a lot to unpack in the sneak peeks. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a ton.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah.
I haven't seen any yet.
Oh well, then we'll definitely get to it. So in other interesting news, we finally got our reveal of when Fear the Walking Dead will be arriving, and we all thought it would be like the week after like Super Bowl. Was it the Super Bowl? No, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But it's going to be in June.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we got some hang time.
I think that they wanted everything from Game of Thrones to kind of...
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they wanted to compete with it.
No.
Oh, I don't blame them at all.
Yeah.
But
I think it's smart.
Yeah, it's smart, for sure.
Why the huge lag, though? Like it's
But how
one.
many episodes is Game of Thrones though this season? Is it 6?
Right. Well, I wonder if they'll even take a significant break like they usually do, like a month or two in between each 8 episodes. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like they'll skip the break.
Like they might skip the break.
Oh, you're saying the mid-season
Oh, yeah.
break? Oh
Yeah,
no,
since they're starting later.
I think
Yeah.
they'll still have it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, they might still have it, but just not as long.
Have they? I mean, how? I think it's always been the case that they've taken the mid-season break, though. Am I not mistaken? Or like at least for the last several years.
Yeah, I'm just saying they probably won't do it now that they're starting a little later. Just so they can roll right into the premiere of season 10.
Yeah, and they have to end by a certain date too, and
Right.
so they got to factor all that in.
Yeah, well, yeah, they could.
season 10 will kick off in October, right?
Yeah, usually.
Wait, I'm
Yeah,
getting reports that there's no sound on the Instagram stream.
Oh no!
And how about now?
As we all go silent.
I know. As we all.
Yeah, as we all go silent, right?
Do you want me to go check?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
But Chris is checking anyway. He just like, oh, let me just flip on my smartphone, which is the only thing I'm using to watch the show. Yeah. Okay, you can hear me now, right? 100%. 100%. Okay. Well, I think that's the reason why some people fled the stream. Okay. Sorry.
Oh
about
no!
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. You should be on YouTube anyway, which sometimes crashes. Yeah. So just to repeat what we said, we were talking about Fear coming back in June, which does shift the dates around, or potentially shifts the dates around depending on how long a break they want to take in the mid-season. So, yeah, that's going to be pretty messy. And that kind of brings the question too: do you think that we're going to get the movie or miniseries or whatever it is before we get season 10?
I don't know. They said that they were going to make an announcement about that this Sunday, right?
Yeah, that would be a quick turnaround, wouldn't it?
The drip,
That would
drip,
seem
drip,
really
drip, drip, drip,
fast.
drip.
Yeah.
Yeah, of information.
Mm-hmm.
They never tell us anything.
Well, I think if you end up hearing Rick's voice on the radio, like everyone thinks you might, then that would lead
Right.
into a movie coming.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Everyone else thinks that? Man, I thought that was just me.
I know I did too until I read it on the internet. I was like,
I know.
okay.
I'm such an original flower,
I
right?
was like, all right, everybody's on the same page, I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all hive-minded all of a sudden instead of argued with each other on Instagram or something and abusing people and actors. Speaking of which, no, I'll get to that. But so yeah, another interesting, crazy, dumb thing that happened is, and I think this is a result of how long the episode was last time. This current episode, the calm before, lowest ratings ever. This episode.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
In Walking Dead history. Yeah.
oh.
It's so funny because it's been
That's crazy.
like acclaimed one.
Right.
An
Well, in terms of-
acclaimed,
in
like,
terms
is
of
it acclaimed?
In terms of criticism,
Right,
like,
right.
I mean, like some of like the harshest criticisms of this show or harshest critics have been like singing the praises of this episode.
Right.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
Because of
crazy.
the violence.
Violence sells. What can I tell you? No. The reason why the lowest ratings, I mean, they're speculating that the lowest ratings were present was because of the extra 25 minutes and a lot.
oh, there
We're
was
talking about a lot of DVRs got disconnected at the hour
Yes.
mark. Yeah.
I knew
Okay.
plenty of angry fans who
Yeah.
experienced that. Because if you, I guess, however they programmed it, if you said it, it was programmed into the system as like an hour, even though it was obviously more than an hour. So
Okay.
the DVR cut at that hour mark, even though the show was still going. I don't know why, but apparently that I mean, I watched it live, but a lot of my friends who usually DVR it, they were livid.
I would have lost my mind.
Yeah,
Right.
because basically I was
Oh
like,
my
I
God.
was like, what was that hour mark? I was like, what happened at that hour mark? And I think it was like the point where like Alpha was leading Daryl to the cliff, but they don't even get to the cliff. So I was like, oh man.
Oh
that
my God. We cut out the worst part.
I was like, that sucks.
So did they not have the show labeled when you recorded it? Did they not label it? It was going to be longer than 60 minutes.
I guess they didn't. So the DVR was set up to record the show, but it was
cut out.
Yeah. So basically, even if you DVR'd to record the show in its entirety, it cut off at the hour because however it was inputted as like the show was going to be an hour, but it wasn't.
60-minute show, right?
Right.
I know if you DVR and it's going to be over an hour, usually a prompt will pop up and say, this show is going to go, 20 minutes longer or whatever. Do you want to add that extension? And you just click yes.
Oh.
Right.
If they didn't have it labeled, that way, then I'd be pissed.
Those same friends I know this week are like recording that into the Badlands, whatever it is that they need to record. They're like not joking around.
Yo, we watching all AMC shows today.
It's AMC for the next 3 hours, basically.
It's like, yeah, now we got the 10 minutes. Speaking of DVRs. Michael Cudlitz is returning to direct in season 10.
Sweet.
Okay,
yeah.
Really?
So he's going to do at least
at
least an episode next season. I guess I'm really impressed with him this season, so so that's pretty cool. Cuddly.
Very cool.
Yeah, he did the episode where Rosita and Eugene were running away. Rosita in the beginning.
Stradivarius, I think it was.
Was that Stradivarius? Yeah, I guess so, maybe.
It was.
Yeah.
And he did that clever opening scene with Rosita, like with the camera right in front of her face.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's him. That was a really good episode too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a good job.
A lot of emphasis on some key, like literary things.
They've been doing that a lot with the shows. Like I know with Fear, they had
Coleman Domingo.
Coleman Domingo did a show. Mm-hmm. I think they're gonna have Sarah. What is Laurie's name from The Walking Dead?
Oh, Sarah Wayne Callies.
I think she's doing it. Yeah, I think she's set to direct one of the shows on Fear.
Oh wow, cool.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure I read that right.
I think you're right. You're 100% right.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So she's gonna end up doing that. So I mean, it's really cool that they do that. I think it, you're getting an actor's perspective,
right,
on how they would want it to be.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
And they know the show,
Yeah. More than anything, they know the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope they still watch, right? Just because they're not on it anymore.
I think a lot of them do. Like, so for example, like, so just so everybody knows, Chris and Beast Mode NY Deadcast had their 100th episode, and on it they revealed their surprise guest star guests, who were actually Jared Michael and Jason Warner Smith.
Michael.
Was it?
Yeah, Josh Michael.
Oh, Josh Michael, which his character is Jared.
Yes.
Shitty Jared.
Shitty Jared. Rat face Jared.
Rat face, son of a bitch with a gold chain, Jared. On Black Lightning, at least. Which, you caught it. Good. But what was I going to say about? I guess it was about directing.
They still watch the show.
Exactly. Like us. I mean, for the most part.
Yeah.
Except they can call somebody up and go, "Hey, so what's the deal with this thing? What's going on right here?" Because I kind of want to know.
I was trying to get some juice out of them, and they're like, I haven't talked to nobody. I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. I know what the deal is.
Yeah.
With your cloak of silence.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So if you have the inkling, the link to BMNY's YouTube channel is in the video description. Check that out. That was a really cool episode. I recommend headphones. I think that's probably the best way to watch the show.
We had the sound coming through the TV, and we were getting a little bit of feedback every now and then. You get like a high-pitched chirp.
Yeah. I have ways to fix. I have thoughts. We'll do like a pilot test with our family, with our BMNY family.
Oh, good.
Last but not least, some interesting news. We're no stranger on the internet to a little bit of Henry hate. I think we've all, at some point, expressed frustration with the character, right? But it seems like, just like with Josh McDermott, I think some of the hate's gone a little too far for like Matt Lintz, the guy who plays Henry,
Right.
you know, older Henry.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting is that his mom actually what was her name? Kelly Lintz, right? She actually did a blog, and she kind of updated everybody on how Matt's doing, and you know, didn't really go into, because she's basically their talent manager, all the Lintz family, right?
Right.
So she kind of went into the idea that you know, he's not going to this new role or like going into podcasting like Squawking Dead. I mean, obviously we're so famous, and she basically said that he got his first baptism. And the reason for that was, you know, he wanted to take a beat, you know, he wanted to take a few steps back and like focus on himself and like his mental health and his faith, and, you know, just recenter himself. And I think a lot of that, you could tell, like, this is very interesting. When I look at the fans from Germany who did Walker Stalker Germany, like they were like seriously tearing him apart in terms of like analyzing each photo, like, oh, he looks so depressed, etc. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it really got to him. Like, what if though, right?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Right.
And we all know that I think that his character has gotten a lot of criticism at the very least. But you see people online like, oh, I like literally responding to like Matt Lintz's, like, let's say Instagram or even Twitter, like, I'm so glad you died. Like, wait, no, they didn't even say your character. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're dead. I hope you're off the show for good.
Yeah, I know people get a little crazy.
So, I mean, it's a good opportunity to, like, I think it's a good idea to read Kelly Lintz's blog. It's lifeinthehoneywagon, I think, .com. And it goes into it in detail. She doesn't really say, like, you know, he's like upset and whatever. Like, she just makes like note or reference to basically him, you know, needing to take a step back. There's a lot of criticism. You know, Hollywood is not an easy industry. And so she kind of takes a note on that and goes into the whole idea, why it happened, how it came about. And I think it's just a good idea to separate the criticism from the person, you know? And I think it's a good reminder to remind everybody that, like,
definitely what happened to Josh McDermott too. Yeah,
exactly. Which is why I mentioned him at the beginning, like, just is that, you know, we're no stranger to this, you know? And
I at no point hated Eugene. I have always been a Eugene fan.
Yeah.
Always.
Never hated him.
I've always loved him.
Yeah.
I
remember.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I win one, not this Atlanta, but last year Atlanta at Walker Stalker. He was ordering pizzas for all of his fans because he wanted to like make up for what Eugene was doing in the show.
Oh my God.
So they would come and get an autograph and he would give them a piece of pizza. Like,
That's so funny.
It's so stupid.
That went me over. Like, are you serious?
Which it just goes to show, like, how seriously that they take their character. Like, not only that, so like when it comes to personal criticism, like death threats and whatever, you know, it's like, oh well, yeah, they're gonna take that pretty seriously. So
and I think leaving social media was probably the best thing for him at that time.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, yeah, it's such a shame because we do miss out, but I mean, at the end of the day, like, I think with the Eugene in particular, and maybe even with Henry, I think the one key thing was that up until now, all we've seen are I think basically two types of people. You know, one, you know, people that are trying to make it on good terms, and the other is like, I'm gonna claim this, you know, or like I'm taking this, you know, that sort of thing. Like these people, the governor. You know, that kind of people. And so when a Eugene comes along, we don't really respond well to that. No. We've been conditioned, you know?
Yeah.
So we're not used to seeing we like, quote unquote, weak people, you know, even though we're all like, I think that's I'm going to make a t-shirt, like a Squawking Dead literal t-shirt that says we are all Eugene, because we literally, most of us are.
Yeah.
He's physically weak, but he's very mentally strong. He used his strengths, and that was his smarts.
Yeah.
I love
it. Plus, I feel like a lot of us always want to think that, like, oh yeah, I'd be like Michonne, or I'd be like Daryl.
I'm a girl. Yeah.
Let's face it, most of us would be Eugene. You know, like that's just the reality, you know. Like, love to think I'd be like a badass like Michonne, but you know.
Yeah. So I think with that really was most of my news. If you guys do you have any other news that we can talk about? No. No? Okay. Well, we got a minute left until we have to reconnect. So we can kill some fucking time. Or what we can do is... So, Rachel, I want to start the show off with you. I don't want to start just yet until we reconnect. But
right.
Think of a good starting point for this show and keep it in your mind.
Oh, man, there's so many.
Yeah. Well, no, you got like about a minute to think of a good spot.
Oh, do you know? No pressure or anything, though.
Yeah, no pressure. It's all on you, Rachel Burt. Rachel Burt, it's all in your hands.
Don't worry, I'll fuck it up somehow.
It's in the Lord's hand. You want a baptism?
I might need it.
So I was trying to go to the chat to see if we got any digs, any information.
I'm gonna start with something that's been bugging me.
But like a lot of people, by the way, are like, they gave Matt hate. Are you not on the internet? What the fuck, Nisa? Dude, it was bad. And there we go. And I have to send them a new meeting request. Okay. Give me a sec. We're going to reconnect and let's see here. Si puede. Okay. So guys, we're going to kick off the real show soon. We're going to kick it off and then you'll see. There's Carol's first. Carol is first. Tell me you're here.
I'm here.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's clobbering time. Let's see who else is here. Ashley's here. It's clobbering time, Ashley. Oh, Rachel is here. It's appropriate. And I'm going to flip the video back on. For the Instagram stream is like, video is very sensitive. Oh, that's the conversion. Never mind. Chris is here, right? Let me see. No, Chris is not here. Maybe he's pulling somebody over.
That'd be awesome.
Hey guys, I got a situation here. I don't want to start recording until we get all five, because then I can get all the stream all at once. It lines up so nicely. I'm like so obsessive compulsive when it comes to AV. It's unbelievable. Let's see. Christobel, Crystalina. Where are you, Crisco? Beast mode, New York. One day I'm gonna ask him about his name. like there he is. Okay. No, I'm not gonna do it now. I'm gonna hold back. Because that would eat up I don't know how long. I would like to get their story once though. Chris. Sup? Let me hear you. I want to hear your sweet buttery voice.
Oh, hello?
Yeah, I hear you. Great.
Oh,
that's
for some reason, I don't know why, but my headphones aren't connected anymore.
Well, here we go. Okay. So with that, oh wait, hold on a sec. Okay, now we're recording. Okay. Now that we're all here. All right. So with that, Rachel, what do you got for us? Where do we start in this episode of Horrors?
Well, there's a lot of places I could start.
We could start from the beginning if you want to.
We could definitely start at the beginning. I'll probably start at the beginning. So, what do we see in the beginning? We see Hilda and what's his name, and they're getting ready to leave for the fair. Okay, that totally went over my head. So I'm going to admit right now that I clearly wasn't paying attention when I had this thought. So obviously Alpha captures them, right? And we see she's dead and she's about to skin her face, but before this is almost embarrassing. Before we see Alpha's face, I get very excited and I think, oh my gosh, this is whose face she's been wearing the whole time. Yeah. And then I realized, no, wait, they were on the way to the fair. That can't be.
Right.
So yeah, I got myself all excited and then wah.
Wow. You know that, but to get to play defense for you, we did talk about the possibility of Ozzy's face being used as a fresh Walker face, but what wasn't far off is that yes, Hildy and Miles get run over by the Whisperers, but you do see Miles's fresh Walker face on the Whisperer that comes out.
Yes. So, super creepy.
Like a droopy Mike Myers face.
Yeah.
Yes, very
the
much.
mustache is like still on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Very Mike Myers.
Yeah. It's kind of like that, but not at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, that beginning scene though, like they go into like how the coin came about and what it means.
That was so cool.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was just interesting how, she puts that coin by Henry, who he starts with H2, and they said, it's a symbol of hope and
of home, actually.
Home.
Yeah.
Home. Hilltop hope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hildy. No more.
Hildy. Yeah.
Hildy.
But and then you backtrack and you figure out that okay, there's some real significance here for Henry to give her this coin, which isn't worth any money anyway. Her using the yo-yo string she finds to kind of put it around her neck, and Lydia to put it around her neck.
Yeah.
And then giving Henry the nod and all that stuff, and then so you really get the sense of what it means. Just as that like a symbol means. It only means anything to the people that it means to, like collectibles, like any sort of collectible thing. It only has value to those who put value on it. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, which is kind of like interesting when Henry first shows her the coin, he's like, it's not worth anything. And then, but like she goes, no, it's mine. It's mine. It has value. So I just thought that was interesting. I have a question here. Aside from the Pike deaths, so did you get the overall feeling that this episode did as good a job as it was going to do of like replicating the comics? Because I felt that.
I think that there were a lot of moments that were really close to the comics, and there were a lot of fake outs for the comic readers. So there were a lot of moments that like were definitely thrown in just to tease comic book readers as like, and then like, oh no, that didn't happen.
Can you alert us to maybe one of those things?
When Ezekiel escorts Alpha.
Perfect.
To like the clothing booth.
Wow, just the thing.
At that moment, I was 100% sure. I even turned to my husband. I was like, he's dead. Like that is it. For Ezekiel, we're not going to see him again. That is it. And especially when they go to the theater and Jerry's like, hey, where's the big boss man? He's missing all of this. I was like, oh yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
So I think that they definitely did little things to kind of give a nod to the comic to make you think that maybe they were going to go down a certain road. And then they kind of, when the moment comes, you're kind of switched off. You see Carol's reaction and you're kind of like, oh, is it him? Is it him? And then you realize, oh no, it's Henry, and then I don't know anybody who thought Henry was going to be a movie.
I did not think Henry
did not.
Yeah.
No, Ezekiel was higher on my list than Henry.
Oh yeah, on the obvious list, right?
For sure. I did not think that at all. I got to say though, that was probably, I felt bad, I know that some people, didn't feel as bad because I understand like, some of those characters obviously were not as major characters, but like
in the show or the comic, you mean?
On the show, the ones that were on the Pike, but I still felt bad. But what really made me feel bad, honestly, that scene between Carol and Daryl, like that, her reaction and him like saying like, don't look, don't look. I was like, oh
Yeah.
God, like, especially because it's like, here we are again, after Sophia, and here we are again.
I brought this up too, like when we were talking about it initially. I don't know if it was Voltron yet, but it was the four of us. It was one combination, but I said basically, like exploring the ideas of like rotating Ezekiel out for even Carol, because I mean, in that scenario, as much as we love Carol, I think like what's more cruel, killing Carol and sparing her another child or husband death, or or swapping it out for Ezekiel or Henry, and it's like, whoa, but Henry seems a lot worse than Ezekiel. You know what I mean?
They were very cunning with this too. I mean, even when she leaves to go on this mission to to kind of prep.
Yeah, she turns and waves
and I was like, well, that's the last time that they see each other there. Like, no, it's true.
Did you feel that at the time, or
she even gave off like a hesitation at goodbye, like it. She kind of gave off like a
and had this face of like
yeah, like she even thought it was going to be the last time she was going to see him.
Yeah.
Oh,
definitely.
Man. I did not feel that, but
you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when Maggie and Glenn kind of saw each other before the lineup
in the shower.
Well, when he left, because Daryl had like gone, and like basically like Glenn went off to try and find him, and he's in the car and he sees Maggie in the rearview mirror, and I was like, well, and that's the last time that they see each other there. You know, it just had that kind of ominous tone when Carol was leaving. So I definitely felt like, all right, but they definitely, I feel like, try to kind of fake comic book readers in certain ways. Same thing with the conversation with Eugene and Rosita. That heartfelt conversation felt like a goodbye conversation.
Right.
So I was all kind of like preparing myself like, okay, one of these guys is going to go.
Yeah, that shit was row. But did you think that it was, you didn't think it was Henry at the time. You just thought something is somebody saying goodbye for good. Okay.
But I still did not think Henry.
And by the way, that feeling was probably only aided by the fact that, like, they did kind of like they kind of kept going in the episode, and then they did a backtrack to the events of the fair.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, something happened here.
But do you know that is actually very much how it goes down in the comic? They did I would say they did an excellent job for how, when the Pike scene happened, like they did it very close to the way they did in the comic, because in the comic book, it's, you see the panels with like the different heads on Pikes, but you don't necessarily know right away who's who. I mean, some characters are more distinguishable than others.
Right.
But then the panels of the heads, you have these like little snippets of like the same thing they did on the show, where it's like you see these characters being like, hey, have you seen so-and-so and whatever? And you kind of realize, oh, okay, that's in relation to this person. That's in relation to this person. And you kind of start to put the pieces together. So when it got towards the end and you see Lydia in the back with Ezekiel being like, oh, my mom's here. Like, have you seen Henry? I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That was a gut punch.
That was a gut punch.
Yeah.
My heart sank when Alden was looking around for Edith.
That made me sad too. I felt bad about
like him. Tara hit me hard.
Yeah, Tara more than anybody else.
I couldn't believe it. Like,
sorry, that was loud.
He was like the furthest from my mind, honestly.
Absolutely.
We predicted Tara, but
I thought Tara, just from a standpoint that I feel that they hadn't done as much with her character, so I kind of thought like, okay.
But they were getting ready to. I mean, they were become the leader. I mean,
she had a lot more
I see that this whole side is blindsided.
I know.
But it's true. Like, you did feel like the show was like rapidly trying to catch you up to like, oh, Tara is important. Look, everybody regards her as the leader. Like, whoops, here's the rug.
I say, like, as much as that one hurt, and the wound is still like so fresh about her dying, I have to say I love that it didn't get spoiled for me. Like, that shock and awe is like why I love the show so much. Like, that they can still surprise me like that.
For sure.
That was I was totally in shock. I was like, Tara, that's not her. That's not her. My husband's like, yeah, she's dead. I'm like, it's not her. We didn't see her die. It's not her.
Wow.
She's dead.
Wow. Because you see it and it just, you can't, it doesn't register. It didn't register at first for me.
I didn't notice first round, the first time I watched the show, I didn't notice that their heads are like still walkers. Like they're I didn't even notice that in the first time I watched it.
Oh no, I noticed that right away.
Yeah.
Because what's the first one? The first one is Ozzy.
Ozzy. Yeah.
And I thought that was Luke at first.
Oh, which by the way,
Oh,
not a lot
but
of not a lot of people would blame you for that one too. By the way,
Yeah.
a lot of people thought maybe
Because Yumiko was the first person to kind of cover her mouth, and then they showed him, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's Luke. And then you see him singing, and you're like, wait, that's not Luke.
Yeah. Yeah.
let's just put song lyrics to his. Yeah, right.
Luke was the only happy one during that scene too. Like everybody's like,
Right.
worried, looking for people. He's the only one that's like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Is that okay?
Yeah. No.
All right. I have a question.
Yeah.
There's a conversation between Connie and Kelly, and she talks about how something happened in her past that she pushes it down.
I was gonna ask that later. Yeah.
Definitely seems like she lost a child. Something.
I was gonna say, it
child?
sounded like it had something to do with a baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wondered if it was herself, or if it was Kelly, or
I
like
don't
the
know.
parents
Yeah,
left.
I got the impression she lost a baby or a child or that was the feeling I got.
I guess the question is whether it was prenatal or postnatal. Like, was it
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did she
Yeah,
have
it's hard
to
to say.
abort, or
Yeah,
did
it's
she
hard to-
actually lose a child?
It
Right.
doesn't seem
She said it was a
experienced
choice too, right? She made a choice.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So it was she feels bad about a choice that she made. So.
Well, I'm not touching that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay away.
I mean, and then because you enter in the realm of, okay, was this post-apocalypse too?
Right.
Was there a Sophie's choice, right?
Right.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah. There's so many things on the table.
Right. Because Kelly was upset, and then when she said, it hit a personal level, she just was like, okay, I understand, like, why you left, and
Yeah.
she kind of backed off at that point.
Yeah, because we all get that way too. Like, we all leave without telling people, depending
Right.
on the circumstance. We've all made that mistake. I mean, we're all like have been or are hitched right now. So it's like we all know what it's like to kind of leave like the apartment or just like go without saying goodbye or whatever. It's just because you're just like that, and then fucking happens. Shit happens. You fix it. And then you abort a baby or something. Anyway, so no, but I was gonna ask that question too, because that scene in particular was very rough too. Like
It was.
Angel Theory again with the way she did it in the episode with Luke in the middle of the night, like where they're
Right.
like saying, "What are we doing out here? This is crazy." But like Angel's like, "We gotta look for him." He's like, "No, we gotta not be stupid."
Right.
Stupid. But it just got me, just like right in the throat, right here.
Oh, she's awesome. Gosh, she's awesome.
She really is.
And think about the power in that. Like they don't use the power of speech so much, or at all in that scene, particularly.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
And then to be able to kind of like, oh my god, I'm getting it right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So and it was a very common refrain among the fandom too, like Kelly is fire,
She is. It's great.
or Angel Theory is fire technically, really.
Right.
I wanted to talk about the differences, because I want to go back to like the invocation ceremony with Ezekiel talking about Carl and Rick, right? Like I'm gonna go through that, but I want to.
Jerry's name for the ceremony?
Sorry, say that again.
What was Jerry's name for the ceremony?
Oh, because I wrote that in the humor section.
Oh yeah.
Let the first annual community reunification fair begin. Jerry, that's too long. Oh, forget about it.
I love Jerry. I'm so pleased that he was not killed. I was so scared. I was so concerned. I was like, if Jerry's head is one of those on a pike, I'm gonna be devastated. But
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. I could see him doing it too. Like,
Oh yeah,
that,
I totally was fearful that
Yeah.
could have been a possibility. I was like, oh.
same here.
Right. But the thing that I want to talk about is just really briefly is the difference, the slight difference between the invocation to Siddiq's speech. And one thing in particular that he says, Ezekiel, that you can compare to Siddiq's monologue at the end is the idea of uniting not against a common enemy, but for the common good. Like referencing all-out war, right?
Right.
But And then you get to the end and Steke's like, literally, I mean, he's not calling for arms, but the reason why he's trying to keep everybody together is because of a common enemy, technically.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And they I mean, it's not necessarily a call to arms, but it's more like a call to continue on the path of staying united.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just found like the parallels between that pretty interesting, because it's like, okay, well, we tried and then here we are.
Right.
We are uniting kind of against the common enemy, little. Now, again, here we are, Negan 2.0. So, I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. But so there's a lot of things we can say about Ezekiel's speech, though. Referencing Rick and Carl, for one. Mm-hmm. The sacrifices.
Wouldn't you say there was a lot of nostalgia in this episode in terms of like references? I mean, there was references to the governor. Yeah. There were references to like
all of Tara's past.
All of Tara's past. By the way, so that Oceanside representative was little Rachel, the one who wanted
Rachel. Yep.
Really?
Yeah, the middle finger Rachel.
Did somebody say her name? How did
Rachel Ward.
I had like the closed captioning on, and it said Rachel.
Oh.
And when she signs it too, Rachel Ward.
Signs it too.
Mimi Kirkland.
Okay.
And she
my gosh.
And when she mentions it to Tara, she's like, "Yeah, I was going to shoot you on sight when you were up on that beach." And I was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
I was trying to think of who else was at the beach.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting too. There's a lot of references to like Tara's past too.
Right.
Yeah, that she was aligned with the governor. Like that's how Rick was open and gave her a chance and thought that she was really cool, even though like she really was kind of on the governor's side for all intents and purposes. And so
I think Michonne made a really great point too. Lydia grew up with the Whisperers. She didn't have a choice. She's choosing to be with our group now.
Right.
She didn't have a choice before now.
Side note, I wasn't sure what Alpha's reaction was going to be when she had them all surrounded, like in the forest, Daryl and Michonne or whatever. And Michonne's like, "Oh, we granted Lydia asylum." I was like, I wonder if Alpha's like, what the what? Like, like we're in the post-apocalypse and we're talking about asylum. I was like,
And when that scene happened, I had a flashback of Rick and them carrying Maggie through the woods and walking into all the saviors, and I'm like, this is like just another. To me, it was like a flashback. And I'm like, they're trapped in the woods again, completely surrounded. Mm-hmm. It just, so many elements, like at night through the woods, and then having a group surround them. I was like, wow, this is another Negan moment.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of feedback about Sadiq, by the way.
What kind of feedback?
I've got literally two people, Mind of Beth and Eye in the Dark 2, saying, I don't trust Sadiq.
Do you know that I've heard that a lot? You know what?
And I'm like, I don't know why.
I've been seeing that a lot lately.
I have a lot of friends who have been saying to me after the show aired that they were very suspicious because their feeling was that Sadiq told them, we saw them kind of fight in the barn, but they were saying like, okay, that was Sadiq's interpretation of what happened. That's his telling the story of what happened. But like, is that how it actually
You're saying
happened?
Like making it up?
What? Right. Like they're basically saying like, did he make it up? Why was he the only person spared? Like he's like the lone person that is spared from this massacre. And so.
Well, he is a doctor, by the way.
That's a good point. Stop. I don't want to distrust it.
It's really stupid.
I was like, I've heard a lot of people also like.
By the way, chemtrails are real, by the way. I read it on the internet.
I've heard people like say that about, a lot of people say that about Sadiq. I've also heard a lot of people express like kind of concern even about Ezekiel, because they're like, well, what happened when Alpha took him off screen? Like, and I'm like,
he just gave her some clothes for the other Whisperers. He just, here you go. See ya.
There is a more authentic question to ask, because here's the thing. You can say that you don't trust Sadiq, but they do the same thing with Michonne, Daryl, Carol, in the woods. They keep them alive,
Right.
And so the question is, like, we can go into this. Like, the question is, why don't they smoke? Because I was more concerning myself with why not smoke these 4 top people? Right. You know, why keep them alive? I have an answer, but like, did you guys think about that while this is all happening? Like, why be suspicious of Sadiq when you have 4 people that were somehow spared as well? Like, it's not so strange to spare Sadiq in that instance. You know what I mean?
I'm not of the camp of being suspicious of Sadiq. So for me, like, I believe his story, you know?
I know, I do too.
Yeah.
I do too, but you're making a lot of sense here, and I don't like it because
a lot of people.
What does Sadiq say? He said,
"I don't like this ration. I don't like this rationale."
Yeah, well, he says, you know, she whispered in my ear, "Tell them." Yeah, right. I know. I'm not on board with this, but you're making sense. What does he say? He says, you know, Alpha whispered in my ear and says, you know, tell them. Okay, what exactly is he going to tell us? We clearly see what you did to our friends. What more is there to tell?
Right.
I referenced this to, you guys watch Game of Thrones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, most of us, all of us now, right?
Yeah. So do you remember I forgot, it's season 7, I believe, 6 or 7. The Masters come back to, I think it's Marine. I think it's, yeah, where she's taken over the city and everything like that, and the Masters come back to take it over, and the 3 of them are like sitting there mocking her. The 3 like slave masters are like sitting there mocking Daenerys, and pretty much the dragons appear. They wipe out all the ships, and Grey Worm kills 2 of the masters and leaves 1. Tyrion walks up to him and says, "Go back and tell the people what you saw here."
Right.
So, like, I kind of in my head as I'm watching this, I referenced that scene from Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm. Right, because it's not enough to see the aftermath. You
want to send a message back to whoever saying, "Look, don't go back."
Right. Because if he wasn't a spy and he's being genuine, he watched all of his friends die and be devastated.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
I mean, I don't know why that. It just kind of like, as I watched that happen, I was like, wow, this reminds me of like this. And if you go back and watch that scene take place, it's the same thing. It's like, go back and tell the people what you saw today.
Right.
Yeah. You know? I feel like it's a pretty common thing too. Like, I've seen that in other shows and movies and stuff, you know. Mm-hmm. They leave one person alive to tell everybody else to scare them. You know?
Right, because of how serious
I totally trust Sadiq. I totally trust Sadiq, but there's so many ways to get into my head. And
yeah, like RJ, is he still alive?
Yes, that's what I'm talking. I was so sure, and then Ashley's like,
Ashley, by the way, we're not making fun of you. Like, seriously, it just it really did get. It's because it's a good theory. It had the right amount of centipede legs to burrow into our brain.
Yeah.
Ugh, gross. Anyways, no, not your theory again. So, but yeah, so yeah, there's that. But yeah, sorry. No, I was gonna go further with that. Is that because I was seriously like in a conundrum, like why they wouldn't smoke. You know, I love the word smoke because they're right there, just slit their throats. There's Michonne, Daryl, Carol, all these strong people. So yeah, like it's just really strange why they didn't smoke them. And then I remembered, because you have to watch the episode again to figure out the sequence of events, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, Chris just hopped off. All right, well, he'll come back. Mm-hmm. Lydia confronts Alpha, and Lydia gives Alpha a choice, you know, on whether or not she's going to live. Mm-hmm. And I think there's something going on here where Alpha feels like, I'm going to give them a choice. Like, I have this whole horde here. I could just unleash it and be done with it, and I could survive. But she's giving her, you know, them and / her daughter a choice. Like, and her daughter can attest to, obviously, her brutality, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Right. So there's like a little interplay here between the daughter, between the people, and like they know what she's capable of. Daryl kind of, I think, understands her a little too, being out there in the woods for so long, for so many years. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the real reason. Do you guys see where I'm coming? Because I seriously saw a flaw here. Like I saw like, why would she leave this open like that? There's no reason to keep these people alive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if anything, you want to slaughter the big top leaders, leave Sadiq alive, and then...
I don't want to kill you people. I mean...
She said before she doesn't want conflict.
She doesn't want conflict, so...
That could start a bigger war, killing off the leaders like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But she said the time for that is... Well, actually, Beta said the time for that is over. That deal is done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do want to go back to that, but I think let's keep going in order, and because we could jump around, and then I want to go back because you've got moments of humor. We've got Jerry in the beginning being like kind of back to the jester character again. I mean, you do see him do this throughout the series, but like never in official capacity since his first appearance.
Yes.
Like, waving his arms in the air like you don't care, like a true jester. And then Eugene in the dunk tank. How funny, how much fun was that?
That's amazing.
Like egging on Judith Grimes.
Yeah, like, that was awesome.
That was one of the cutest gifts that I saw all night was Judith clapping in the theater. I was like, this is so adorable.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
And she fucking nails him too. I've seen better arms in a spiral galaxy. What? Okay. Yeah, Eugene being Eugene. It's great.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So there's one little thing. The unfortunate business that we have to do as like podcasters and people that break down shit, right? Is you get to rewatch pretty damn cool scenes, right? And like knowing how it all ends and then seeing that first embrace between Henry and Carol and Zeke.
Yes.
That fucking broke me because I'm like, oh shit, that's that. Oh my God.
And she grabbed them. She's like, don't you ever leave me again. And you're like,
oh, I promise. But that one scene, and actually to kind of seal that with a kiss, Tilted Tripod 1 did a painting of that embrace of Henry and Zeke and Carol, and I was just like, oh my God, why am I watching this? This is beautiful, but it sucks.
That broke my heart all over again too.
Oh, it's just horrible. It's like, and then the reason why I brought this up really was we talked about this, and you had talked about this in Zombie Mommies, the last episode, and that was Carol not having seen Judith in years, literal years.
Oh,
that happened.
So touching.
That was the first time I cried in this episode.
That was so touching.
That got me too.
That was really touching.
Your hair got real long. Like by the way, even the way she said that, Kaylee, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Like just the right inflection, right? Mm-hmm. And you all have kids, right? Yeah. So that there's like a certain quality to seeing that.
Yeah, no, it was really like touching because it's true. I mean, it's been years.
Right.
Since she's seen Judith.
I immediately pictured Carol running through the woods with
too.
Judith on her backpack and like Carol's the reason Judith is even alive.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yes.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah.
Holy macaroni.
And then I think of Martin and Tyrese in the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember that.
Oh.
Yeah.
He tries to kill her. He puts his hands on her, and
Judith almost died so many times.
Several times.
Can I just say, do you think that there were moments where they shot scenes like fully preparing to kind of get rid of the not the character technically, but like the prop of baby Judith?
Right. I don't know if they would go that dark.
I don't know. I don't think they would.
It was on the table. I mean, it is definitely an option, a written option.
I feel like they're very tentative about like what lines to cross. I mean, even with like Rosita, like, they didn't go there with her as one of the Pike deaths, like
her being pregnant.
Yeah.
However, and I'm not sure if I want to bring this up now. No, we'll bring it up in the sneak peek because it is relevant. The photos for the next episode are really cool. I recommend if you guys are listening, flip back and forth. Check out the promo photos for the next episode so that we can talk about it later
amazing. On. They're very
it's a good companion visual to what we're talking about. We're going to talk about.
I feel like we're looking at a very small time jump again too.
Yeah, because I think that from what I understand, like you see her further along in her pregnancy. So it kind of like gives you an idea like, okay, like
how much time has
was
passed.
she though? Oh, I guess so. Maybe.
That's what I heard. Like I haven't
seen
enough at the photos to be able to really gauge and see. And they're all kind of more bulked up because of the snowy winter temperature. Yeah. So it's like, I can't necessarily tell too much, but that's what somebody told me, that you can tell that she's a little further along. So you can kind of say like, okay, it's been,
do you think a month?
Couple of months, maybe.
A couple of months or something.
Yeah.
Well, a couple months. I mean, winter's only so many months, though. I mean, which makes me wonder.
Not where I live.
Not in Michigan.
Sorry, I forgot about Michigan and Chi-Town. In Illinois, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's 9 months of cold. Yeah. They not necessarily snow, but cold. Yeah.
Periodic snow. Yeah.
I mean, it's a good thing they're not there. But yeah, I don't know. You know what it is? It's like when you see so many seasons of not snow and not cold, then you don't really think, oh, well, that season's not that long, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I guess it begs the question of like, where are they currently? Like as of episode 15, like where are they in the year? I mean, because you could already see them, wearing some layers.
Right.
Like a thin
November, October.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's already snowing. Oh, okay. Our Instagram stream is doing something. That's good. I love when it does things. Give me a sec. Well, we can keep going. Sorry. The recording's still going.
It snows in July here. So there's snow's never off the table in Michigan.
All right. Now we need to talk about that because that's fucked up. What?
Yeah. It
snows
sucks.
in July.
Yeah.
Now hold on. Because I know that we've had some Decembers and Januaries where it hit 75 for some weird, odd reason.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, we've had that kind of weather
here.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've never heard of snow in July.
Michigan is the crankiest bitch state ever. Seriously, she cannot make up her mind. You do not ever know what the weather's going to be. We bring layers and layers everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, San Francisco's funny because like throughout the year, it's like air conditioned. It's like the naturally air conditioned city. But like, I've never heard and seen anything about like snow in July. I just never heard of that. Well, I mean, obviously, in like temperate climates. Like I'm not talking about like down under where it'll snow in Melbourne around that time of year. But wow. Okay, it's good to know to never visit Michigan again. Meanwhile, it's fucking beautiful.
Just always come prepared. Just
yeah. just bring a fucking sweater. Okay, I gotcha.
Just bring everything. Yeah.
But I know it's like my voice is like extra froggy right now, which I kind of like. Anyway, I don't know. Welcome to Thoughts with Dave. Thoughts in Dave's head. So.
Do you remember that SNL skit? Deep Thoughts.
Deep Thoughts.
Yes.
Dave Cameo. Thought 1. When will this end? It is torture. I have Alicia Noel, who has been listening to our show, by the way, in her cosplay building sessions. And I just want to give her a shout out because she's like listening to older episodes, like Fear the Walking Dead episodes. And
I'm all bitter and angry.
No, not yet. No, you're still in the hope zone. Like
I'm still hopeful.
You didn't get into like. By the way, and I guess it's worth.
Martha killed me. It killed all like that. That was it.
That's yeah. Watching her come in, I think it was. I mean, you do see her, but you don't really see her until her background story episode, which is like 3 or 4 episodes from the end.
Yeah.
And that's when you start going, oh, I don't know about this.
I don't know about the show, man.
That's when you get into like the 3rd or 4th date, like with a new person, and you're like, I don't think this has a future, Dave. I don't think this has a future. That's at least the excuse you use, you know?
Oh God, yeah, that was rough.
Rough. Sorry. I mean, sorry, not sorry, because it was so much fun to watch.
No, it is fun. It is fun. Sure. Like,
yeah, no, I will say, like, it was a combination of like, if you and me were like, let's say, dating. There was a combination of, am I doing this right? What am I doing wrong here? How do I get her motivated to watch the show?
It was
There were like some serious doubt because it was like a light switch, girls. It was like a light switch. All of a sudden, they went out. The affection for me went away. Like I made her do it.
It was like the kill switch.
Wow.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yeah. We're just remembering those times. It's really fraught. Thought the podcast was over. Oh my God. Like you know what's really you don't understand. It felt like I injured her. That's the thing. Like you did this to me. You owe me. I am angry with you
because of you.
I'm hate podcasting right now. It's really fucked up. Sometimes, though. And here I am laughing. By the way, I'm laughing in those episodes throughout. And at the end of the episode, I'm like, "Oh shit!" How serious was she?
You know what's really funny? There was, on the same note, there used to be a show on Bravo called The People's Couch, and I think I mentioned this to Dave, and it was
3 times, but yeah, it's worth mentioning this time.
Oh my God, this thing was hilarious because basically it was like fan reactions to a variety of things. So they had different people. It would be like maybe 2 best friends, a family, like a variety of different kind of peoples, and they would make them watch the same thing, and they would videotape their reactions. So sometimes they'd be watching American Idol, sometimes they'd be watching whatever. So one time they were watching Walking Dead, and it was episode No Way Out, where Carl's eye got shut out.
Okay.
So, they're watching it and it's like, oh my God, here's this, things are starting to go down. And then all of a sudden, it happens. Carl turns around and you see that, he got shot in the eye. And like, there was one family that it was a husband, a wife, and their teenage son. The teenage son is sitting there like with his mouth open. The wife has her head in her hands. The husband stands up calmly, throws the remote on the couch and says, "I'm done with this shit."
What?
Marriage over.
Hilarious thing in the world. Like the family reaction was.
What the heck?
It was hilarious to watch. It was so.
Yeah.
That wasn't even that bad.
No, in comparison, like now, I'm like, that wasn't
right.
But that was one of those, like, I remember watching that and being like, oh man, they actually did it.
Oh, perfect timing. Okay, guys, I'm gonna bring them back, and wow, time is just flying by, isn't it? The People's Couch. I mean, how many of you guys have watched People's Couch, by the way? Let me know in the comments because I'm really curious. I mean, any Bravo watchers? No, because we're all Walking Dead people. So yeah, give me a sec to bring these guys back, and we shall have a good time. Do 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 do. Admit. Defeat. Hello.
Hello.
That's one. And let's see if, yep, there's another. Carol's last this time. Ashley, let me hear you just one more time. Oh, nope, you got knocked out. I knew you did.
I did?
Oh, there you go. There you
I
go.
can hear her. Oh. There we go.
It sounded just like for a brief panic second. There we go. Speak, Rachel, I heard you. Carol, let's hear you. No, now you have to talk. No, you have to tell me how much everything rocks. Yeah, let me get the video back on.
Oh my gosh.
We're on a roll today, man. I tell you what, boy.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's record.
How we deal with grief.
Yeah, that's how we deal with. That's true, by the way.
Yeah,
we're sick fucks. Let me just get the chat back, you motherfucker. Nobody's heard of the People's Couch, by the way. I did a poll.
It was short-lived. It was like a random little like show. I think they were just kind of like testing it out or something, and because I watch so much. I mean, I watch good quality television, but I also watch.
You watch, I would say it's a 50-50 on trash TV and good TV,
Probably,
right?
Probably. The thing is that shows like Walking Dead and any good quality shows, you need uninterrupted, focused time to pay attention to everything that's going on with closed captions. So I always watch with the captions on, because otherwise, like, I could miss something. It's just easy.
Right.
But it's one of those things where it's like you really have to pay attention to what's going on. So sometimes I can do that, and sometimes not so much. So if it's like a day where I'm just washing some dishes and doing laundry, and I've got like 2 kids and a dog running around, it's a lot easier to just have people's couch on rather than
Right.
And honestly, it was funny because like with this episode that aired on Sunday, I had relatives that came over, my sister-in-law and her husband, who are also big fans. So they all kind of knew that this was going to be a big episode, because I kind of hyped them up. I was like, this is a very important episode. Like,
right.
And so they were like, oh, well, why don't we come over and like, we'll order some food and watch it. And I was like, cool. I was like, what about the kids? And they're like, okay, well, we'll put them in our bedroom and we'll put on like, a movie, and they can watch like a movie and stuff. But it was like, every time like a child starts opening the door, it's like, pause. like pause. Yeah. Not so easy.
Oh, it's like wrangling cats.
It can be at times.
Yeah. All right. So let's steer back.
Yes.
To the episode zone and not past the Whisperers border. Yeah, so I was thinking about like how many of you thought that possibly, because I think even me, I thought in the back of my mind that this has legs a little bit. Tara, do you think that Tara might have been right about Lydia? Like, do you think that this all could have been avoided, or could it not have been avoided? Because there's a lot of good arguments against Tara and against that idea of like, you should not have brought her along.
Oh, I think it completely could have been avoided. Yeah, absolutely.
Avoided. I mean, from the beginning, Alpha just wanted her daughter, and that would have been the end, and that's it.
Right.
So,
and why did Daryl take her in the first place? Why didn't they just kill her like they killed all the other ones?
It's a good question.
They wanted answers.
Yeah,
they were interrogating her,
and I wonder if like they took the mask off and they saw how young she was, that they were like, okay,
was part of
I don't know if we feel okay killing such a person.
Yeah.
Right. I think he also, so if you look at this episode too, Carol doesn't flat out Carol, I'm talking about Carol now, doesn't flat out kill the walkers, the first wave of walkers that come at them in the woods.
Right.
In the dark. She actually nips one of them in the arm before like ultimately taking it down when it doesn't react.
Right.
I think there's a psychology here though. If Carol has the option of taking a hostage, she will, or like getting more information about what the heck is going on, she'll do it.
Yeah.
So I think that's still on the table. I think that's why they end up taking Lydia in the end. Not in the end, in the beginning of the jump or whatever it is. There's a psychology into knowing your enemy. Like, you don't want to walk into another governor situation, Woodbury. Right. Like, what they've been there.
They've been a lot of places.
Yeah, they've been around the block. Yeah.
They've had
Terminus. Could you imagine if you had inside information on Terminus? It'd be like, Terminus.
That would have been helpful.
That would have been really helpful.
Yeah. Bye, Felicia. Bye, Terminus.
Don't go here.
Yeah. So I'm not going to end there. Yeah. But I guess the question still kind of hangs out there though. Like, do you agree with the ultimate decision of taking Lydia in, essentially?
Man, that's a rough.
I think
it is.
Yeah, that's heavy.
Yeah, it's important because look, I'm this weird Rick guy looking towards a positive future. I loved Henry. I'm saddest for him to go. That's me. I'm weird. But it's an important question to ask,
I feel like it's a shame because it's sort of...
It could have been avoided.
Right.
Well, it could have been avoided. And it's one of those things like if you had like a teenager and you warn them against doing something and you tell them, you're going to get yourself killed. That's literally exactly what happened here. Like they warned him against like pursuing this girl and he stuck to his guns and still wanted to pursue her because he basically fell for her. And he did. He ended up getting himself and unfortunately 9 other people killed also in the process, which is, horrible. But I mean, I think it could have been avoided. Yeah.
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 And you would be okay. Let's say if it was you, you'd be okay with sending a girl off to being abused.
I don't know if I would have
possibly
been
raped. Anyway.
Right.
Because we don't know.
Yeah.
So speaking of the topic of rape, not that did anybody get weird vibes when the 2 teenagers were talking to Lydia, like Gage and the other one?
Yeah.
It felt very
it was very creepy and
very creepy.
frat boyish and
Well, I thought there was a little more to that though, by the way. I think it was the first time I actually thought Addie was putting on an act. Like is in cahoots with the boys.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like she was doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
I just thought they were being little assholes trying to piss Lydia off.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely came up very frat boyish, very much. But,
yeah, I mean, because I thought Addie was kind of pouring it on a little thick, like knowing full well that Henry is with her. Like, it's just too obvious. Like, you're not getting in there.
For her and
I guess that's why I thought she was putting it on thicker, because Lydia was there, and Addie's like, "No, look at me."
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's take because I need this perspective. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't need it at all. But do you see this? Like, I'm not gonna say on a day-to-day basis, but have you seen this kind of behavior growing up, like as teenagers?
I mean, I feel like at some point we've all come across like some sketchy skeevy.
Right.
But from women, I'm talking about, like, just openly, like, pouring it on thick to make the other.
I see that.
Oh, are you kidding?
All the time. All the time.
You see that at work? What?
All the time.
Did I say that? Sorry.
Whoa. Drama. People's couch.
People's couch.
No, but
especially in college.
I feel like, I think in all walks, and I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like as a woman, like I can tell when another woman's on thick. Like we've had
DMs about that too.
Yeah, like you can just, I mean, it's very, you can tell, when somebody's trying, at least for me, I can tell when another female is trying very hard, and most of the time I feel like we can all kind of get a sense of it.
Yeah. Most of the time, not men can get a sense of it.
Guys don't get it.
Exactly. I was going to say, except for guys who are totally oblivious.
But bless their hearts.
We recognize it. Men don't. Men just eat it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's nothing to say. I mean, there's always a level where eventually we're like, oh, she's crazy.
Oh yeah, no, all girls are crazy. You are right. There's different levels, but
I mean, crazy. I don't agree with that in this because I'm supposed to not agree with that. So just go with me on this one. I don't agree with that, Rachel. Cosmo.
Okay, good.
Yeah, good. You're welcome. Evelyn, are you listen? No, she's asleep. As most people should be. So speaking of female leadership, we were talking about Rachel. Rachel Ward is her name, from Oceanside. Do you think she's leading, or what's up with Cindy? I need to talk about this.
The doctrine.
I am so lost when it comes to, and I don't know when we're going to find out.
Right. The two questions.
The two questions that's always on my mind is, from the moment when before Rick disappeared, they were still at the point that they were supplying the sanctuary with supplies. Oceanside still active.
Being a drag on society.
We jumped 6 years into the future, and Oceanside still exists, but where's Cindy? We have no idea. And we know the sanctuary's like fallen completely.
So I guess we have like a half an answer when it comes to Oceanside. They exist.
Right. Yeah, at least we know they're still out there if they're sending a representative.
Right.
Or at least Rachel killed all of them. I don't know. We haven't seen any of her people.
She's by herself.
She might.
She's psychotic.
Yeah. I think she's capable of it.
She's so mellow though. She's like, yeah, Oceanside's down.
Yeah. Wink, wink. They're down.
Me.
How do you think? Like, do you think that's salted fish that I brought to the fair? No. Sorry. It's placenta.
You know what I'm wondering? I'm actually wondering if we'll get some answers on at least what happened. Well, actually, I'm wondering if we'll find out what happened to the sanctuary in Oceanside via Dwight on Fear the Walking Dead.
Okay.
I think Sanctuary probably. Yeah. Somebody else was saying that last time too, right?
Right.
I just feel like maybe through that kind of channel we'll get some answers or some sort of like understanding of what went down, because obviously whatever happened.
Well, doesn't Dwight leave like right away after all that war?
Well, we don't know. We know that
we don't know.
We know that Daryl basically said leave and don't come back, but we don't know where he went. I mean,
right.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, we do see him drive away.
Yeah.
I think so, right?
He went to the house.
Yeah.
He went to the house.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
You might not know what happened at Sanctuary either then.
No, yeah, I would doubt it.
Yeah.
That's still a burning question.
Which also begs the question of like, because we have no idea what's going on in the next season, Fear the Walking Dead. Do they have a time jump too? Again, time jump again. So
you know what somebody mentioned to me, and I thought that, and I was just like, oh my god, how would Morgan feel knowing what happened to Henry? Because he trained Henry.
I know.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
oh shit.
Well, he took Benjamin pretty hard. I mean, he wore his armor.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, and there is a time jump too, so maybe there's like a little bit of a because I mean we're talking about like 6 years in the future.
Right.
Wait a minute, hold on a second.
It made my head hurt when I tried.
I think we already established that they're in the same time. The same time jumpy area zone.
Okay.
I think. No, we're minus six years again.
With Fear, because they jumped ahead when we were still at All Out War.
Right. They jumped like another year and a half or so.
Yeah.
After
right.
Yeah.
To All Out War.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they were caught up because there were some similarities between the storm that happened in Fear to season 9. Yeah, and so but now we're fuck sword again. So there's got to be something to this. Yeah. And actually no, it's not obvious. Like if Dwight comes onto the show, it could be that he's been there for a while. It could be that he just gets onto the show and means that it's already, they could jump to the future.
Yeah.
A whole lot of shit's probably happened between then and now. So we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm excited.
Be a villain?
Yeah, he could well be a villain. I mean, we all want Dwight to be good. I think, don't we? I don't know.
I do.
That's a good question.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Dwight is good. He was forced to be bad.
Yeah.
Right. That's my thought.
Yeah, I always look at like Dwight as like the black and the white part of the black and white cookie with Daryl, because I think he is like literally the clone, the Daryl clone. Well, I mean, Daryl is the clone of him technically.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, Dwight could have been Daryl if Daryl met different people.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
Well, and all he did was to protect his wife.
Right.
Yeah.
That was his motivation for everything. Yeah.
Right.
Right, which Daryl would have done,
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, and I do have to mention this because it's just been burrowing into my brain. When they talk about giving Lydia asylum, this is going to be like a hot button issue.
Okay.
Do you think, because they did bring in women in leadership roles in the last episode, or the episode before, I can't remember. Do you think they might have been like hijacking in like asylum seekers of today? Like, we'll take in asylum seekers.
Are you getting political?
I'm like, here's me. I'm touching it. I'm just touching at the nerve. But I mean, it's worth mentioning. Like, do you think maybe they were trying to do that? Because I feel like, and they're not hitting you over the head with it. But
I feel like you could always kind of take, like, obviously this is a show that's very much a science fiction, fantasy, horror show, but
which all touch like usually like current events. Like they always
kind of touch like, something that is at least like, for instance, like in Scars, like, we're so horrified to see like these children that Jocelyn had as basically her minions. Right. But at the same time, I mean, in so many parts of the world, like there there are terrorist organizations that take children from their families and basically like put a weapon in their hand and train them as like child soldiers. Like that does happen. It's horrifying, but it does happen. So I feel like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure like there are different things that happen that kind of sort of touch what is relatable to what goes on in the world, but it didn't. I don't know.
I'm not saying it was over the head, but I did see definitely. Some of the wording was kind of like, I think they're hijacking because they're using some of the language associated. I don't think they went either way I mean, technically they went one way, but I don't think they kind of like hit you over the head with it. Again, they didn't really hit you over the head with it, but I do think they were kind of talking about it in a weird way. I don't know. I just... When you see the exact wording and you see that we decided to let in give Lydia asylum. Right. Did you give her asylum? Yes, we gave her asylum. Asylum. She's an asylum seeker. Anyway, so that's all I was thinking.
I thought it was sort of Michonne's way of saying, we are going to bring back civilization.
Right.
We're talking civil. We're going to bring back this option for people, I guess. Right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a very political person, so I didn't. No. I didn't get that.
I am,
I didn't go there.
But I usually keep it to myself.
I think that she was just trying to. Yeah, that's the vibe that I got. That it was sort of like, okay, we are civilized. We're not animals, so it's like we're approaching this in a very systematic, civilized manner that's going to be mutual beneficial for everyone involved.
Right.
So, and even when they talk about it, like I think in the theater, like among the communities, like. Lydia says, she's like, I'll earn my keep. I'll contribute.
Right.
So, so it's, I mean.
Sorry. I'll earn my keep, I promise. As an asylum seeker. Okay, anyway, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, God, now you're making me think about this stuff. Like, I really.
Very hot. It's more than just the weather.
I honestly, the only thing I took away from the asylum part was that I just really wanted Alpha to be like, say what? Like, what are you talking about asylum? Like, like we're way past that.
Right.
That's what I was like waiting for her to be like, huh?
Did anybody else see the little side glance from Beta when Alpha mentioned that
I was going to talk about that, anymore?
Man.
Yes.
He looked really upset.
Yeah.
He did like almost like a wince if you could see his face.
Yeah.
And then he asks about it, about her again later.
Do I not want to know about this? Or
no. We see it in the show. In the show, when
he has this expression on his face
when Alpha says, we're not. She's no longer our concern. Beta, you see, like it's like a second and a half. You see Beta kind of go like that.
Yeah, like what? Like
what do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like
what does that mean?
It's like what happened?
Well, what do you think it means, Rachel?
Like in love with her,
I think he looks at Lydia like a daughter. I think
I think so too.
Is a protector for her. Yeah.
But only as much. Yeah.
And if Alpha, in his mind, Lydia not being a problem anymore, he probably assumes that Alpha killed her. And and like, for a moment, he probably felt like he lost a child. I thought.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you think it's as much for him? Like, do you think it's like a loving thing, or do you think it's really I want to make Alpha happy?
Oh God,
no. I think he legitimately cares about Lydia.
For Lydia, really?
Yeah, I think Beta's more human than Alpha.
I
definitely see that.
Yeah.
Because even with the Whisperer who like turned into a walker, like a personal moment with him and was like, look, you're always
right.
Us, like, I mean, that's more than Alpha has shown any of her people,
She killed somebody for
crying.
Which, by the way, you mentioned came from the comics. Was there dialogue between that person in the comic?
There was.
Yes. Yeah. In the comic, there's actually sort of like the individual, the Whisperer kind of sees her in a moment of like tears and kind of like questions her, hey, is everything okay? And she kind of like I don't know, I guess it's kind of vulnerable and talks about how like, like she had to like let Lydia basically go, like
she really opens up to him.
She does open up to him, but then it's like, okay,
then kills him.
Now I gotta kill you.
Yeah. Yep. You know all this about me now.
So,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Speaking of feelings for loved ones, I know that the chat's been going on about two different things. By the way, they've been talking about like, do you think Dwight has Lucille? And I think it brings a more important question: is that will we ever see Lucille again?
Yes,
I think we will.
I think
Do
so.
you do think we're going to see Lucille?
Yeah.
I want to get to the question that naturally follows that, but I'm holding back
Where
because,
is she?
well, more like who's going to kill Alpha. But I'm not going there yet because I think we have a lot more show to cover before that. But I want it in your brains because there's some really good answers that we could have. Because I've been thinking about them all the last few days. But you think we are going to see Lucille again? I'm actually of the camp that I don't think we need to see Lucille again. I think it's more important for Negan to know that maybe it's out there somewhere, but that maybe he'll let it go. I don't know.
I think he's going to get Lucille back. I think that actually Michonne has Lucille.
I think Michonne has her.
You do think? Yeah. I don't think she has it.
Lucille's so much more than just a weapon to Negan, though. Lucille the Bat represents his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Even if he never used Lucille again, I feel like he would still want it around. Like Michonne's katana. Like she's
like a
even
security
if she's not going to use it, they want it
Right.
there.
Mm-hmm.
And
like
for what it
buried
represents.
somewhere.
Wait, what was that?
Yeah, it's
was that
somewhere.
Ashley?
I feel like it's buried somewhere, like
That'd be a good idea. Bury it, yeah.
or outside the walls somewhere. I feel like it's buried.
I think it's only good to reveal Lucille in as much as you get maximum humanitarian Negan, because then he'll start to wrestle.
Right.
You know, he's been powerless for so many years, and the seat of his power lied in his brat. So whether it's like, like kind of voodoo-y or like totem-y, like, right?
Right.
It's not like a physical thing. It's like when he has it with him, he feels maximum confidence.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am interested in that wrestling so much because you see him like be kind of good. He's trying to reach out and be this maximum good Negan, right? Yeah. So we have to get him to a point where it's like maximally like awesome Negan, and then you just drop Lucille and be like, go ahead, wrestle for your power, bitch. So yeah. Otherwise, I don't care. Like I kind of like the idea that you could take the character somewhere else, to be honest. I really do like the idea of like them going a different way, because I'm starting to feel like they could,
Mm-hmm.
Where the fuck my notes, bitch?
With Negan?
They're with Negan right now. I wanted to go into the charter signing because there were some interesting things like, Carol signing in just as big fonts, Queen Carol.
Queen Carol.
It was like further solidifying her role in the kingdom.
I loved it.
That was awesome.
And the fact there are two signatures, like not every group got a chance to put two signatures. In fact, that was the only one that got two.
Yeah.
So then there's Michonne giving Father Gabriel the pen.
Yep.
That was pretty huge.
That was big. I thought he was going to die right then and there. I'm like, hey, he's one of them.
Yeah. He picked up the pen. He looked at it like there was weight. It was like, it's been a long time coming.
Right.
Because look at where he came from and where he's gone, Speak of Tara, like look at Father Gabriel.
Yeah.
Like a weakling to like almost worse than Eugene.
So was she saying that Gabriel's the leader now, or
head of the council?
I think
head of the council.
He actually has some sort of like say, because I think he's been sort of like a head of the council in name only, but she's basically been like vetoing like anything.
Everything,
like he tries to like do like, so ultimately he's sort of like, what power do I really have? What significance does my role really have? So the fact that she's sort of like, hey, you
can sign this.
Sign this. Wow.
It's all yours.
I've taken everything else away from you, but you can sign this.
Let me give you some scraps. Go sign the measly charter. That means nothing. I'm kidding. But by the way, I know that you were talking about in Zombie Mommies on the last episode that Jocelyn and her went to school together. I think it was specifically law school, by the way, because Michonne was a lawyer.
A lawyer.
Right.
Yeah. I wanted to chime in, but I kind of wanted to leave it alone. And I think that's the only reason why I'm bringing it up is because of the charter signing and her language being pulled from Jesus, Rick, and Carl into the charter. Yeah. I wanted to get more screen caps to see if I can get more of the charter, but By the way, if you guys haven't seen it, we do have a blog with articles 1 through 4, as well as article 8. From what I got from Screen Grabs, or not Screen Grabs, you don't see that part, but I wrote it all down, and the forward and the what's it called, the preamble and the postamble of the charter. So good for people to know who haven't seen it before. So yeah, head to the blog, and as you scroll down, you'll see it, or click next or before or after. Time for after. Oh yeah, and again, there was a perfect opportunity to talk about the sanctuary in the signings, like to mention it out loud. I found it like really interesting that the writers decided to not touch it with a 10-foot pole. Like,
yeah, that's
sort of glossed right over
I thought there would have been something.
And that's why I'm like, can somebody shed some light on what happened to the sanctuary?
Right.
Do you think it might have been because? Do you think it's more of an administrative, like a showrunner kind of thing to do? Like, do you think the show actively said, maybe it's better if we just imply that the sanctuary fell and leave it at that,
right?
Because we don't have to go into detail, or do you think that there may be something that gets revealed?
I feel like there has to be something that gets revealed.
There's so many unanswered questions.
I feel like it's the dam all over again in Fear the Walking Dead.
Right.
But it's not just because of like, the sanctuary fell. It's also because of the fact that before Rick goes away in that helicopter, Negan is like downright suicidal, like borderline suicidal. He's got this beard, he's disheveled. We move 6 years into the future, and he's a different guy. All of a sudden, he has his old spark back. He's like groomed. It's like, okay, well, again, what happened between that point and now that instead of like further deterioration, he's like gone back to like, having his, for lack of a better word, having his like swagger back again. Like, how did that happen? So,
I think it was Judith.
That's what I was saying. I think it was Judith and all the talk.
I think it was
together.
Maybe
her showing him humanity.
When he said he has that window that he can listen to what's going on out there, and kind of makes him he's also part of it, even though he's not.
Yeah.
Oh, some people commenting about obviously the thing that we mentioned at the beginning of the show, hearing Rick's voice at the end of the next episode that's coming. Yeah. But somebody actually said, I think Wilani said that she thinks that maybe Morgan might be on there too.
Ooh,
I think that's interesting to me. Like a Morgan and
I'd be more
Rick
excited
united.
for Rick than Morgan.
Oh no, of course. No, but I think
she's saying Rick and Morgan.
Rick
together.
And Morgan together.
Oh, Rick.
Oh, okay.
How
Morgan.
interesting would that be? Like calling it back
it.
all the way to the way it should have been, like in the beginning of the series.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, then that would imply Rick is
together again.
Gonna be on Fear. I don't know.
Which no. But I think that Morgan might jump into the movies. Which that's possible. Like,
Morgan
the show.
Stay put very long.
Say that again. Sorry.
Morgan doesn't stay put very long, so he could have
kept
on. No, because if you think about it, like it's feasible because like
he starts running and then
he ran from like where, like Virginia to Texas.
Austin, yeah. Well, not technically on the show, but Texas, yeah.
I mean, he basically got there one way or another. So, I mean, he could potentially make it to wherever Rick is, which is probably somewhere in I would say, well,
in Ohio.
Yeah, I mean,
somewhere in Ohio.
Somewhere in Ohio.
I mean, I will say one thing. The one thing, the from what we've gathered in bits and pieces from different showrunners and people involved in the show is that Morgan will not return to. I mean, people are still talking about this, but I think they made it very clear that Morgan is not returning to The Walking Dead. Just so everybody knows. There's just enough evidence to kind of gather that that's not going to happen. However, that they didn't say that Morgan wouldn't be going to any of the other companion series in the franchise. Like, imagine Morgan is the one that kicks off these other series. Like, you follow Morgan around the Maggie spinoff, the Rick, the Rick movie. Which is fitting,
Morgan's
though.
going to be on Whiskey Cavalier.
Morgan's just going to.
How did I get here?
Everywhere. He's going to be everywhere.
Peanut butter protein bar. Like what? And then that's all you see of him on Whiskey Cavalier. It's like, who's that random guy? Like, people who haven't watched the show, who's that random guy with the stick? But no, yeah, but it would be fitting because Morgan is literally the first human being that Rick sees post coma wake up. So, I mean, if Morgan was that psychopomp for us, that journeyer that takes us from each Dead series to the next, that would be pretty cool. I mean, he doesn't do that in Fear, but he does that at least in the same time period, at least. So, I don't know.
Yeah,
so that would be interesting. That's a really good thought. I mean, they should do that, actually. Do it right, girls. Do it right, AMC. Hey, Pretty Wicked Ghoul has joined us. That's cool. Hi. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Little notes about the fair. The Highwaymen donated their mannequins for the fair.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. I also noticed that right from Ezekiel's speech, you saw like this huge table of pickles, nothing but jarred pickles.
Oh my God.
I was like, Eugene? Really? All right, cool.
Eugene's been busy.
I've been pickling.
That's awesome.
That
Yummy.
sounds awful. By the way, pickling is very smelly. I don't know if any of you have ever done that.
No.
I have
I have.
in-laws that do that. And they're like those kind of people, those kind of people. Well, we make our own penicillin. I'm like, really? Okay. We don't trust Big Pharma. Okay, all right, cool. I'm going to go to the other room now and eat crepes or something. So, I don't know where that came from. I sound like Angus Sampson right now. Sorry. Yeah, we asked that question. Okay, we got to talk about this. Connie and Daryl.
Yes.
The dog.
I knew this was coming.
I'm not saying a word.
Yeah, what the heck?
I want to see what happens.
No.
Right now.
Okay.
Yes.
This was just one of the things that bugged me. I'm sorry.
Ooh.
What the heck?
Drama.
David,
why would he?
It up. He's like, this is awesome.
Why would he leave dog behind? Why now?
Because he didn't want dog to be on a pike.
They lived out. He didn't know that was coming. They lived out in the woods for how long? I mean, I got the impression it was like years that they lived out in the woods. Like,
that's a really good question.
Why all of a sudden? Oh, I need you to watch dog for me. No, dog goes everywhere with you. Get out of here.
Right.
Why would Daryl not bring dog with him?
Yeah, no reason. None.
Do you think he regards dog as a child though? Like if Henry doesn't go, dog doesn't go?
I don't think so.
Wait, Carol, what do you think?
He's more of a partner.
I mean, I guess it's like a partner, but like maybe there's still a sense of paternal sort of mindset when it comes to dog. I mean, because he did seem concerned for dog. Like he wanted to make sure that he gets fed and all of that.
Okay.
He wasn't sort of like, he'll fend for himself.
Ashley, what do you think? What's going on in your brain? I see thoughts.
I just think like he said, "Can you feed my dog?" He didn't say, "Can you watch my dog?"
Right.
So was dog really there and we just didn't see him?
Uh-oh.
That's interesting.
I don't know.
Oh, there we go.
What happened?
I thought it
for
was
a second.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I see you.
Okay.
But yeah, Ashley,
I thought it was a little of a sweet moment where he trusts her enough to take care of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
They kind of give each other that look and like, oh, she's all right.
I agree with that. I think I was more like thinking he's fishing a little bit. Like I trust you. Maybe because I think it's not. I'll be honest. Like I've taken care of dogs on my own for like extended periods of time, and it's not easy. Like you love them to death, but it's a lot of work.
It is. Yeah.
When you're alone, not when you have a family or like like a couple or whatever situation.
Right.
You can trade duties, but it's just not easy. So I can see like being a point where it's like, okay, dog. First of all, dog needs to see somebody other than my stupid face. But they think I need to take care of this. Dog hasn't eaten in days, maybe. That's possible too. But then it's also a good prop to kind of like advance this possible romance, which is really the question I was asking.
Was Daryl planning on coming back to the kingdom, or is he planning on staying at Hilltop? Because, I mean, I doubt he'd be away from Dog that long.
That's a great question, right?
You know, that's why I think maybe Dog was with him and we just didn't see it.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of good questions. Okay, Connie is at the Hilltop technically,
right?
He's asked to go to the kingdom, maybe, and he goes, "I'll think about it," because that's where Carol is in the Carol shippers. Right. I know you're there. You're there in the chat. I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying nothing at all. But okay. Well, I think the key thing here in the question is that, in light of what we said about the show possibly never going into Daryl having any sort of relationship, do you think this last episode moved the needle for you personally?
No.
Yes.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. See, but that's why I asked.
A little.
Yeah. See, you guys.
I mean, me personally, no.
Yeah, personally.
I still don't want to see him in a relationship. That sounds absolutely terrible. It sounds terrible, but
no, but like just in your estimation,
I think. But the whole Dog thing, I feel like they're pushing it too hard, and I don't.
I think it's just to tease us. I think it's because so many people want to see Daryl in some sort of relationship. They want to see it. So I think that they always kind of allude to it. Even like, I mean, I guess we'll get to it when we get to it, but even with like some of the sneak peek and scenes for like next week, there's a scene between him and like Carol that also kind of gives off certain vibes. And, you know, Ezekiel kind of looks almost as if he
side eye.
Yeah, exactly. Side eye.
The fuck is this?
Right. Exactly.
The same thing.
Yeah. So I feel like they always kind of allude to like, well, maybe somewhat, but I don't think he's ever going to be.
I do feel those vibes at the very least. Yeah.
Right.
Like, the fuck is this guy? What does he keep creeping on my lady for? Is my queen, bitch?
Right.
What the fuck? Get the fuck away from me, bitch.
Yeah, he definitely looked back with like a certain side eye, like.
Yeah. I don't think it's that, but obviously there's just so much that, you know, that's why the show is kind of great, because it knows that there are fans out there that have that still ship Carol and Daryl, and that's so manipulative. And when we're exposed to that, so it's like a mind virus. So we're like, not that we believe it, but like now they can use it as a prop, like as a.
Oh yeah.
This is how we hijack their brains. So.
Yeah. They basically kind of put it out there, like just to sort of like, maybe, somewhat. Nope, not happening.
Yeah. But
I feel like it would trivialize that relationship. Their relationship is so. I mean, and I'm talking about Daryl and Carol. Like,
there
there
needs to be a lot more foundation.
I just feel like it's too easy to just kind of be like, okay, now you guys are together. Like that's just so. I don't know. It's just so on the surface, and it's an easy route to take. I feel like their relationship being what it is, and the layers of complexity and layers of like history that's there, and I think that's already such a rich tapestry.
Yeah, and by the way, think about this like in this way, like sometimes you grow up with certain people, and I think maybe some of you know what I'm talking about. You grow up with certain people like 10 years, 20 years. I think a lot of us 30 years. Not to blow up your spot age-wise, but like you grow up with somebody for so long, and then, you know, even though you've never maybe even dated, but you just have so much goods on each other that it's just not attractive at all to the prospect of like being with them romantically.
That's not even.
It's like it's kind of like a brother and sister, but fuck me, we got to get people back on the show right when it was getting good. Okay, let's do this, motherfucker. I'm cursing a lot lately. Let's start the video right now, and then I will invite everybody online on the interwebs back to the show. Hey guys, what's up? Oh, I have to switch the camera too. There we go. Okay. Admit defeat. Carol.
Hello.
By the way, just when it was getting good in that conversation, it's like they're not like a brother and sister. They're just kind of like a gross person, you know.
Like beyond that.
Yeah.
And we're back.
Okay, hold on a sec. And we're recording.
My phone may or may not die during this session.
I know, mine too.
Yeah.
Oh, are you using a phone, Ashley?
No, my computer. It's pretty low.
Oh, okay. You have a charger. Okay. Well, look, I think we are. Oh, God. Wait, there's so much to freaking talk about in this episode. I didn't realize it until we really started plowing in. I tried to skip as much as possible, too.
Yeah.
Oh, there, yep, 15%. That's where I'm at.
That's where we're in the magic zone. Okay, fine.
Yep. Just got the notice.
So to bookend that, it's kind of like we see Carol and Daryl as kind of like a gross bunch of friends that know too much about each other, and I think you get to that point, you know.
Yeah.
I love how Ozzy in that flash. You remember the teaser from last week? How he basically summarizes the Whisperers in like a few words. They're like, the Whisperers are like, we got the strange times, strange ways to cope.
Yeah.
I thought that was just like perfect.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. We mentioned that.
So now that we lost Ozzy and Alec, do you think the rest of the Highwaymen will still help us?
That's a really good question. Yeah. Do you think any of them are still around?
Well, I mean, we only saw 2 of them, so yeah. I don't know.
Oh well, no. There's many more though, right? Because
I mean, only 2 dead.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Carol, what do you think?
I mean, there were more to the group than just them two. So,
but do you think they've fled?
God, I don't know. We barely got to see their group. So it's
what about Sergeant Pepper?
Yeah,
you went on about.
Yeah, that dude too.
Ashley.
I mean, they were there to help, keep the road safe and stuff. So they could still all be out there, or they could all be dead.
Yeah. Well, their motivation, I don't know. Well, actually, I mean, just to go into the sneak peeks and reinforce or maybe throw people off is that we find out in the sneak peeks that the kingdom has fallen.
Yes,
and they gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like maybe some of you do at some point soon.
I might just disappear. Right?
Poof, goodbye. Well, that was her. Let me see. Am I recording? Yeah, I am recording. Perfect. I did good today, Carol. I'm a good boy. Yeah. Yeah. So it reinforces the fact that maybe they have no reason to really stick around anymore. But would they? Why would they?
Community.
Community.
From movies, right? Movie.
Well, there's no movie theater anymore. No projector. No bulb. It's
true.
Yeah.
It's like it's a thought exercise, because I think what's been slowly, like, not about slowly, but like it's this fever pitch has been building up about like, okay, forget Henry, forget about even Tara. I mean, look, maybe, or Enid. A lot of people got really attached to the Highwaymen. I'm not saying it's my fault, I'm not saying it's because of me, but no, but I'm genuinely like, that's very interesting that people are really into and I think maybe a lot of that has to do with Sadiq's speech too.
Right.
The way he put it, like how people that didn't know each other.
Them and gave an opportunity for them to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And the people they barely knew fighting like they knew each other, like family.
Everybody except for Henry, right? I didn't see Henry doing.
Yeah,
I didn't see Henry fighting either.
I mean, you don't really see him.
It was like,
well, you do see him at the very end of that barn
scene. Right. You don't really see him before that.
And then you see Alpha kind of come from out of the shadows. That made me sad. I was like, oh.
I got chills.
Yeah.
She was way too happy to see Henry.
Yeah. I was like, oh, poor kid.
I don't think any of us saw that coming. I mean, actually, no, that's a good question. Did any of you see that coming? Because I didn't.
No.
I was blindsided.
Henry,
no.
You know who else I didn't see coming? Frankie. Where the hell's she been?
I thought that was definitely a stretch, because my thing was, I knew who
they did bring her in the last episode, by the way.
But I didn't remember who Frankie was. But at the same time, I feel like if you were going to go that route and eliminate, let's say, a savior, Let's say you said that you wanted to go for a savior. Why wouldn't you do Laura neck tattoo that we did like far more often? I would have recognized her immediately.
Yeah.
Without her even in the episode, it would have been like if her head was on a pike, I would have been like, oh man, Laura.
That was a continuity problem too. That you can blame like the boarding on that one. Like they could have set it up better throughout the season for you to know and care about.
We could have seen Frankie a bit more, I think.
Right. If that was the direction that they were going to, then yes, it would have made more sense to kind of have introduced her, or like
have her feature in the last episode a lot more than she did.
She only had a couple of words.
Barely, yeah.
I'm fading fast, guys. I only got 5% left, so I'm gonna say goodbye before I disappear.
Well, thank you so much for being with us, and by the way, thank you, Chris, by the way, for being with us in the beginning. So, he has to serve and protect right now.
Yes.
That's what I said to him in the chat. And now, Rachel, you have to serve and protect your children, your house.
Yeah, I'm gonna go serve and protect my pillow.
You do that.
Yeah.
Good plan.
All right, so everybody, thank you so much, and everybody sit in the chat, say bye to Rachel because she's awesome. And by the way, look at her painting of Herschel in the background.
I know, that's so cool.
I love how we do this at the end of the episode, and well, I guess it's fitting. You made it this far, so.
It works.
Oh, and she's frozen now. It's a perfect framed shot, though. Yeah, she's like smiling. Yeah. It's all nice.
That works.
And she's still there. She's still talking. She'd be like, "Oh, it's like a post-mortem. She's a walker right now."
This is my head on a spike.
Which, by the way, I did not have time to do for our thumbnal photo.
Oh my god!
Like I wanted to put all 5 of us on spikes on pikes. Yeah. So, but I could still do it. I'll just do it afterwards. Big deal. But okay, cool. Thank you, Rachel. We'll talk next week because it's the season finale.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh, hello.
Okay. I don't know. Hi. I apparently don't know how to get out of here.
Now you just that was hilarious. Well, she muted herself. Oh, now she's gone. Okay. Now her phone crashed. Okay. Let's see. Right into the mic. Sure. Let's go for the gold. Yeah. Okay. Oh. That's not even interesting. Rosita repeating Eugene's words when they meet up, like, and they're working on the antenna. I'm like, do you think they were trying to give a nod to the comics? That's like, if you want to answer, that's fine.
I think that it's still. I do think we're making contact with Rick. I mean, they've been harping on this radio and this antenna and working on it.
Oh, definitely that part. I'm talking about like when Eugene repeats Rosita repeats Eugene's words. Do you think that that's like kind of like a nod to the comic book fans that like know that they're together in the comic?
No, I didn't get that impression. It just made me feel like, oh, maybe this is the last conversation that they'll have. Like this. Yeah.
Oh.
That's basically.
Yeah, that's frightening. Yeah.
That's what I thought. I kind of came away with that conversation being like, well, that might be their last conversation.
Yeah.
And on that note, like what's interesting about that is, do you think that they knew which people that they were going to pike ahead of time, or do you think
it almost seemed like they were picked off? Like Cammy being the one with the baby.
Oh, I'm talking about the showrunners because I'm wondering.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Got it. Okay.
What their plan was ultimately?
Do you think they might have swerved at the end? Do you think they might have chosen differently from what they originally wanted to do?
Well, I had heard someplace that Ezekiel and Rosita, they both thought, the actors, they thought that they were going to receive their comic book deaths.
Right.
So they were already kind of anticipating that they were going to be killed off. And then they got obviously the script and realized that wasn't the case. So I don't know at what point, really.
In that one scene where Rick's last episode where he's on top of everyone's bodies that he knows, if you notice, like Rosita and Eugene are holding hands. She's pregnant and they're actually like dead, but they're holding hands. So I don't know if like it's maybe that conversation's like them getting closer together more than they already are, but I don't know.
Yeah, I was just like thinking, because in terms of like this episode, it really like superimposes pretty well with the comic, with what happens in the comic. So I just thought it would be one more little, I don't know why I brought this up then. Like, it would be like one more nod to say, like, I know that they're not together in the comic. I mean, in the show, but you know, like, we recognize that like they were in the comic, and I don't know. I love the little puppet show of Shiva. Do you know the story of Shiva?
Yeah,
if you pay attention to that, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So here, this is okay. I'm going to try to stick to more important questions because this one's pretty important. And I even read an article last night, this morning technically, about this very subject. When Alpha, as Deborah, sees Eugene, Rosita, and Gabriel, there's this music, and she has this look as they're walking across the place, and she has a look to her that she's like, kind of like, what are they doing with this big antenna? Or Rosita is pregnant, or why is that guy got one eye? Or, but she gives this group a look, and there's music. What do you guys? Okay, the Instagram stream. What do you think about that? Do you have to watch the episode again? I
have to watch it again to kind of like get a feel for like what's going on in the background. Like, what are they? So you said they're carrying an antenna?
Yeah, Eugene's carrying this antenna across the street, and and she gives this kind of almost gaspy kind of look.
Because Rosita's not visibly pregnant, right?
I think Rosita's pregnant looking enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and look.
Yeah, it's a very telling scene.
Is she just realizing that these people are all working together to do something bigger?
Could be that. I was just wondering what you guys thought, because
I just thought that they were just trying to throw us off again and just kind of because she gives that look to different groups. Like, she gives that look to the little group. She gives a look to when she sees Enid, Luke, and Alden walking. So it's almost like she gave that look to what's her name, Tammy Rose and Earl, when they were walked by behind.
Right, and Jerry and
sort of,
and Jerry and Nabila also.
This was more of shock though than being found out.
But for me, I felt like the showrunners were just trying to also give equal opportunity to all these different groups, so that way it just kind of threw you off on like who was chosen. Because like, I really could not totally finger point and say, oh my gosh, like for sure this person's going. Like, I felt like it was always sort of like, maybe it's this person, maybe she's going to choose this person, maybe she'll be choosing this person. I don't know, but all these people are people that she's taking note of. So she is taking note of all of these different people. I don't know who she's going to pick of these people, to make an example of.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I just thought this was like a standout kind of look. When you go back to the episode, and you probably will because you're just gluttons for punishment, just go back to that scene. It's like 2/3 of the way into the episode around, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's a very brief moment, but you see them walking across the way, then Alpha kind of goes, just like shock. Yeah. Oh, do you think Deborah is Alpha's real name?
Interesting question.
Right. That is a good question.
Deborah, which is, there's a tendency in the South to call, to use that spelling for Deborah.
Right.
That's actually a pretty good theory, because the name came so like right away to
natural.
Her. Yeah.
It was very natural. Call me Debbie.
Call me Debbie. So it's sort of like, why would you pick that name, unless it was obviously a name that it was your name,
Right.
So it would make sense. Maybe that
it would make sense. Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
Let's see what the chat is saying. I mean, people are, I guess it's late, but people have really not joined in the chat really quick. Actually, Marilyn, what do you think? Oh, she thinks it's a good theory. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, we never get to see the movie play. We never really get to see the actual movie play. I love that they have movie reels from like the 19 whatevers, because I've never seen a cartoon play in front of a movie since like the 60s. It would be a cartoon, it would be US propaganda, and then they would actually show the movie. But I love that they chose the Baby Huey feature, and it's the one where Baby Huey takes off the wolf's face.
Yeah.
So it's very telling. In case you missed it. And I think most of the words here that I have in my notes are related to Pike Desk, and I would race through that because I think The choices of Pike deaths, by the way, are really like deliberate, at least on the writer end of thing, like how significant they are. Important question for maybe the comics person, but you don't have to really go into it. Alpha's sniffing a lot after she.
Yeah,
I noticed that.
Now
it was even in the closed captions.
Yes,
it was.
Yes,
yeah.
You said what I was going to say.
She was sniffing, and it would say sniffing.
Yeah, sniffles.
Crying.
There's no comic precedent for it, so I really had no idea what that was about. I was like, why is she?
Is it crying or is she sick?
I think she's sick.
Maybe.
I think she's sick. Now, keep in mind that this is her just after she's piked everybody. Also,
right.
At this point of time in the episode. So, yeah, I mean it's something. Yeah, something to keep your eye on. I think. I just don't think this was just Samantha Morton. Being sick on set. I think there's something. I think there may be something more to this. So, keep an eye on the sniffles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris is saying winter is coming.
True.
Yeah. Beta is visibly being taken aback. I love how the speed at which we can go through a lot of these things naturally. So yeah, I want to get into the Pike Death's archetypes. We can race through this. We can lend some thoughts along the way, but like I noted several things along the way, and I'll read it literally, like as I wrote it. Ozzy and Alec, the Highwaymen. They remind me a lot of like the Ronin. The Ronin in Japanese medieval times are like ex-samurai. They're people that samurai are people that work for a lord, right? But Ronin, they are samurai that don't have a master, right? So a lot of that, so you have that part, and then you have spaghetti westerns, which were directed by Japanese, directors and stuff like that. So there's a lot of like interplay here with these characters, and so, and then what they represent are like the Ronin, the knights that are looking for a master, and they find it in the kingdom, right? Killing these people off are like, it snuffs out the spark of humanity in all of us that we're looking for, like. We all like know that this is a show about survival, but we have like biases about like how we want to live our own lives, and we just put them onto the show. So like in a way, the Highwaymen are kind of like you and me, like the way we would look at survival in post-apocalyptic times. Like, I gotta get mine,
right.
I gotta stay alive. But like when somebody just blindsides you and gives you a chance to look beyond survival, you're gonna take it, Yeah, I mean, I even wrote literally Rick's dream fulfilled. Like, this is what the Highwaymen are. Luke's spiel about our ancestors embracing culture and community to defeat the Neanderthals. Like, this is them. And then she snuffed the two top guys out, to send a message. DJ is like atonement. DJ replaced Dwight as Negan's number 2. Was the first savior to pick up an axe at the Bridge Camp riots. Eventually trusted among Alexandrians, and Michonne herself, second in command. And then she chooses that person. Frankie, thoughtfulness, absconding with like short-sighted selfishness. Because if you remember, when you meet Frankie at first, she gives Eugene the idea of a poison pill to kill Negan, right?
Right.
Not thinking of what the consequences would be. Like, I just want him gone. I want to think about myself. I want to move on.
Right.
And you do see her. I think you do see her planting in front of the gates of the sanctuary at the last episode, or the end of the last, or the beginning of
with Tara, and they're like bringing something and bringing glass.
So you do see her grow, and then eventually, I guess she has a child, like in the in the episode beforehand. And the last kind of goodbye to her is Eugene asking about her to Nabila, and then you see her head on a pike. Tammy Rose, the feeble. Like the elderly, represents like people that can't help themselves technically. And the Whisperers spare no one. That's a good example of, we're not fucking around. We'll kill the innocent, the weak. Give me 1 second. Let me just see if somebody's sending me messages. Okay, never mind. Addie and Rodney, youth. Okay. No room for error, mistakes. Like youth, we make mistakes. We fuck up. We fuck around. We see that in this episode. It's like plucking the seed before it barely has a chance to grow and learn. you know? So we're taking that too.
Maybe eat a little bit of Eden too. A little bit.
What'd you say? Like Eden, Garden of Eden?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, and I didn't want to write it, but yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah. Enid, courage. Okay, Enid defaulted to survive in the beginning, forging no connections, ready to break any that she had in the pursuit of keeping herself safe. Right. With Glenn and Carl's help, she learned that being alone is no way to survive, and somehow is not a good strategy. She learned to love, contribute, heal, and heal the helpless. When it came to sever Aaron's arm, she took on the risks and took it upon herself to act, ignoring all of her fears and trusting herself. This is like her growth pattern. Right. And learning to love Alden, throwing out her fears, saying, "You're my boyfriend," right? When we first meet her, she's like, "Splitsky, see ya, I don't care, bye."
Yeah.
So, and then we really have the two that are left. It's Tara, and that's Purpose. I mean, when we first meet her, she is lost as fuck.
Right.
And Glenn is
lost
like,
her sister. She's on the wrong side.
Yeah, she didn't know it. She thought she was helping a dude. Glenn's first question to her was, "Can you help me?" Well, right. Will you help me? Right. And then from then on, it starts this thing, and you see throughout the episodes after with Glenn, she chooses every opportunity to say, "Fuck, I'm gone. Why are you helping me? What did I do to deserve this?" Right. And then she gets all the way to that, from that to leading the hilltop. Mm-hmm. Being the person that people go to being Glenn, technically. You know? And then we have Henry. This is the worst part because I don't know if I'm going to hold up. We have Hope. Henry was when Henry was lost, when the Sanctuary dudes broke out of the pen and the walkers invaded and blah blah blah. Carol decided actively to have hope that she'd find him alive when Morgan was convinced that everyone is just already dead, right? She raises him on her own, transformed the angry hellbent youth that's hellbent on revenge into someone who upheld the concept of right and wrong. The thing about hating Henry, right, is a lot of people did have some real heavy criticisms about Henry, right? And I think why it's misplaced is because I think a lot of us try to think of those terms. When we look at good guys in a hero's journey, we think of people that try to adhere to certain right things to do, We may not do it ourselves, but it's if you think that Henry isn't a character suited for this world, it's then you might as well walk among the Whisperers, because that's how the Whisperers live. If you want to talk about doing whatever you need to do to survive, right? I don't think any one person thinks that they want to. I mean, I think maybe there are some people that want to be Whisperers in the Walking Dead universe, but be a Henry, be a Rick. I mean, there has to be something more, and Henry talks about that. Henry is our reason for being, and the Whisperers took that from us as well. Stealing away Lydia's only sense of belonging, her hilltop coin, or her home. And they take away that too. The only thing I have to do you have any thoughts on any of these archetypes? That's what I'm calling them. This is what the Whisperers really took away, or tried to take away.
I love that, what you just said. Everything made so much sense.
Yeah, I might put it in a blog, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I got some wows. Okay, you're just spitting a lot of shit at me right now. But yeah, I mean, I will put it in a blog. But I think with Tara gone, and this is a big question that even the Walking Dead Skybound account asked, who do you think will be taking over at Hilltop?
Negan. No.
Whoa, I had not heard that. I did not hear that at all. That is some out of the box shit right there.
That's just wishful thinking.
What do you think?
I've heard some talk about Birdie, because she's kind of been there from the beginning.
Yeah, I said that too. Yeah, you saw me say that too, I think.
Yeah, I've heard that. And then
it's a good opportunity.
Daryl, obviously Daryl.
Do you really think that they would do that?
I do not think he wants people following him.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of strong Aaron, people saying Aaron.
And then Aaron, for sure. Aaron would have been kind of my number one person that I would have thought.
Yeah, I'm actually leaning more towards like Birdie and Cal, or
Yeah.
like whatever's happening with Eduardo. What?
Yeah.
Where
right?
are you, Eduardo? What's his name? Peter Zimmerman. Peter Z.
My computer is about to die.
Okay. Let's squeeze as much of you as we can.
Okay.
Some people are saying, some articles are saying Rosita lives now, like we're thinking she's safe, but does it mean that there's a better opportunity to take her out later?
That's kind of like the Abraham, not
yeah,
death.
Kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah, I could see
agree. Because this is just kind of like me in real life thinking, because I know she canceled for London Walker Stalker, which is supposed to be this weekend. She's gonna be
yeah.
Monday.
Let's talk about that. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
The mass. What is the reason for that? Does anybody have like any concrete?
I think the just schedules are just kind of crazy right now, and everyone's just canceling.
Oof.
The Jeffrey D. Morgan, you had Lauren Cohan, and
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you have people that spent so much money to see these people. Like some people like would spend like, I think I heard somebody spent $800 at Walker Stalker just to schedule this stuff. Between the gold or platinum passes or whatever the fuck gets you. Yeah. And then like you have a mass exodus of many people, many top people from the show. That sucks. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, well, the reason why I bring that up even also is that in some of the pictures, which I told you guys to check out earlier, pictures of the show, you do see Zeke, Rosita, Gabriel, and Eugene in a cabin surviving together. Love Square.
Right.
So I find that very, very interesting. They're not with the other people trudging in the sneak peeks, the Kingdom people.
But it does look like they're with Negan.
Yeah, maybe. That's a maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
It looked like the backdrop of where he was sitting looked similar to the backdrop of where they were.
Like so General Wood.
I got the impression that whatever this storm is going on is causing people to go to, I don't know. It seems like the storm is causing people to kind of shift to where they need to, where they can be safer. I don't know.
Yeah, less about like growing crops, which is impossible now, and like more about like staying warm. I guess, right?
I guess.
Yeah. But I bring that up because of the Love Square photos. And Negan is seen with Judith in at least like looked to me like a trailer. Like one of those old trailers, the pop-up trailer, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're in the same spot because it looks like Love Square is in like a cabin, an actual cabin, wood cabin. Okay. We're going to talk about this. Maybe this is the last thing we talk about because it's the Who Kills Alpha.
Carol.
So you're firmly in that camp, right?
100%.
What do you see, Ashley, you too?
I kind of think it's going to be Lydia, but...
see, that's what I was thinking a little bit too. I was more leaning towards Lydia after this episode in light of Henry. Because,
I mean, before she knew she killed Henry, she let her live. And now Henry's gone. I think it's going to be Lydia.
Right. And there is the classic line of people thinking it'll go the way. And this, I think, right? The Negan thing, right? Okay, so I didn't want to do that, but I was like, okay, fine. But why not? So why not Negan this time around? Why is everybody... Is it because of the Carol...
There's no meaning behind it.
There's no meaning behind it. The whole Negan thing made sense because the Alpha in the comic is this like vixen who appeals to Negan in a romantic way. And so there's this sort of like romantic sort of like connection that's kind of alluded to, so he's able to reach her in a way that no one else can. And when he does see that he's had a breakthrough with her, he takes advantage and kills her. But I don't see that route happening here. I don't see them pursuing that route. I don't think so.
A lot of interesting answers in the chat. And they're pretty evenly split. Like Negan, Carol, Negan. And because of Henry. And Chris says...
Also because it's like, I don't know. Well, yeah.
Well, because it's very comic booky the way it happens with Negan. It's just very ultra super comic booky.
Right.
Like, and I don't think Negan is that level of Negan. No, and I won't go that because it's not going to happen. It's stupid.
I have a hard time seeing that route happen based on what I'm seeing right now.
Like, I think they even diverged from that version of Negan, like late into like season 8, beginning of season 9. I just don't see it. I don't see that. I don't see that happening. That brute. Okay, looks like we got 10 minutes left again.
Yeah, I'm almost done.
You're almost done. Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
Okay. Yeah, I feel it. Okay. Okay, because we do see some friction with Lydia and Carol. You know, Daryl's trying to convince Carol to accept her.
This is in the teaser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to jump around.
No. I mean, can't say I blame her.
So the question really is, why does Daryl ask her what she sees when she looks at him? Like, is it a Sophia thing?
Good question.
I think he generally cares. You know,
like what does he mean by like what do you see when you look at me?
When you look at me,
maybe he doesn't.
I mean, maybe it's because it could be because there's more to him than, like, a lot of people would just look at him and write him off as a degenerate, whatever. Even from like when he started on the show to now, like people write him off.
We still do, but okay.
But you know what I mean? It's like, but Carol has never written him off like that. She's always like seen all the depth in him. And maybe what he's trying to allude to is like, there's more to this girl. Like, yes, when you look at her, all you see is Henry and that like he's dead because of her, but there's more.
Holy shit, the parallel is there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I mean, I didn't think about that.
That's how I interpret it.
You just totally blew my mind right now. Like, Lydia is literally like a Daryl right now. Maybe, I mean, not the same age, but like, like she's a blank slate. All she's known is this abuse. But wow, that's fucking crazy. Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, which is why he kind of made a breakthrough with her in the cell anyway, when she was in the cell, because he knows abuse when he's.
Yeah,
but I think it's the opportunity for Lydia to grow like Daryl. That's what is blowing my mind right now. Like, oh wow, she can get this trajectory like Daryl too, and she could maybe turn into, I mean, if she lasts that long, into like another Daryl, which people like. I mean, people like a Daryl. I mean, what about a female Daryl? Hell yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean,
that's great. I think that's awesome.
I think it could happen. I feel like that's what I got from when he was like, "What do you see when you see me?"
Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, that's a really good point. I was thinking more of like the Sophia connection, but I think I'm throwing that away. That's a much better idea. We 2 things left, I think. Okay, we do see a scene with Lydia and Carol though. She has like this drill bit against her neck, something like that.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, like something like that. She like that pops out. I don't know.
Okay.
Now we talked about this in the last episode. Do you think we'll see full Carol? But now it's kind of like, do you think really? There. What do you think now? You know, what do you think she'll do with Lydia? I mean,
Henry's the reason why he's dead. I mean, Lydia's not the reason why Henry's dead.
That's a very good point. Yeah. Lydia did not cause this. Henry made his own decisions.
Right.
It's a good point. I don't know if she's ready to. But you know, Carol. We both know Carol. She's not going to listen to that.
No.
Maybe, but whatever. Yeah, we saw the Talking Dead sneak peek, which doesn't really give you much, but does give you some of the mechanics of the walkers that are in the snow.
Do you think that they're going to try and fake us out, like you were saying before, with Abraham and Glenn when that happened, and they killed Abraham first, and then you kind of like were lulled into a false sense of security, and then Glenn was killed. Do you think that potentially there's the possibility of more major casualties?
You're talking about Ezekiel, right?
Yes, and that's the thing that will ultimately tip her over the scale.
Holy crap!
Right. I don't know.
I do not have high hopes for Lydia.
I don't know. Like, I'm just like putting it out because I don't know.
It's the same as the Rosita question too, right?
Right, exactly.
What makes her safe?
Right.
Nothing. Not really. Now we're in uncharted territory, sort of.
Exactly. No, exactly. That's exactly right.
That's a good point. And when does he bite it? Well, that would be interesting though, because in the end of the day, it'll be like, oh, there were 13 Pike deaths. Like they all die in this next episode or something.
Right. That would totally throw people off.
Yeah. The article that I read about Rosita, by the way, so the article that I read, the question that I asked, blah blah blah, the reason why Alpha looks really funny at Eugene, it's not because of the antenna. She says Alpha finds the idea of raising a child in this life as revolting. So when she sees Rosita as pregnant, she makes note of it in that moment where she's gasping, like kind of like whatever, taken aback by it, and like, and then they're saying that the author of this article is saying she, instead of following this group of people that are trying to leave the kingdom, she follows Rosita, like to actively go after Rosita and take her down or take her baby.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought it was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but I mean, she has shown like she'll leave a baby out in the field.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Some next level stuff.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Pictures, theories. Okay. Yeah, the theory that Rick may be in the next episode. We kind of I think we got everything. Fuck, we nailed it. We fucking nailed it. We fucking nailed it. I fucking love it. Like it's rare when we get to every single item on the list.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of us. And more, by the way. So what do you guys I want to leave you guys with the last word, starting with Carol.
I am very excited to see what comes from the season finale because, like we said, it's uncharted territory. So I really don't have any sort of like preconceived notions of what could happen, which is exciting.
Yeah, I feel excited, and like I think that this last episode could have been a finale. So it's like, wow, we got a whole nother episode. Like that's awesome. I can't wait to be surprised.
Yeah.
And
right.
I hope that the end of the episode ends with a little bit of hope, though. We have Rick on the other end, and there's a little bit of hope for our group that he's out there. For Daryl and Michonne and everybody else.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why they did that too. Like they didn't want to kind of leave us down in the dead. However, I could see them easily turning the next episode into like we're not going to leave you at sub minus 10 degrees of frozen cold. We'll bring you back up to a 0. You know, you're still in a deficit.
Like, I think we are going to lose a couple big people, but they're going to leave us with some hope.
Okay.
Yeah. In the form of, as I think we've all kind of agreed, everybody in the internet agrees. I think we will hear Rick in some sort of form,
some sort of capacity.
I mean, and people are very reticent to kind of have this hope. By the way, like they don't want to be wrong about it. I'm like, just do it. If we're wrong, fine, whatever. We're gonna see him again anyway.
Right. I like being wrong because I like being surprised.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Kirsten Acuna, and I mentioned this off the episode, is she specifically says that either turn up your volume or put on headphones or put on the captions at the end of the season finale. There's something there.
For sure, I'll be doing that.
Yeah. Which to me means Rick, but
yes,
it'd be like from very far away. Michonne.
I had heard from somebody. I had heard that somebody told Andrew Lincoln's last episode, and it was 9:16.
Yeah, which I think Mateo's been really pushing that. Mateo, is what is it? What are you called? Praetorian Ventures, but Walking Dead base on Instagram. Yeah. He's got some good evidence. I mean, he puts screenshots, he does the math. So, do you think we might see Maggie in the next episode? I know that we're signing off, but
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think we'll see her till next week.
Okay.
I mean, next year.
Right. With that, I think the whole thing is going to cut off now. So, thank you for joining us. We'll see you at the season finale, and we'll hold your hands throughout. Thank you guys for joining. Right. What a fucking killer episode. Love you. And with that, we're out.
Bye.
Bye, guys. We'll see you soon. Hey. What is up, you're still with me on the podcast. It is very hot in here, and I will say goodbye.